In the soft stillness of evening, when the world begins to grow quiet and the body settles into its natural rhythm of rest, the heart continues its gentle work, steady and unhurried. It beats beneath the surface of your awareness, faithfully carrying out the same calm cycle it has performed since before you were born. Long before memory, long before language, the heart learned its rhythm, and every moment since then has been shaped by its steady presence. As you settle deeper into stillness, you may sense this subtle pulse within your chest, a quiet reminder that life flows continuously, without demand or hurry, a rhythm meant to guide you into a peaceful understanding of how the heart truly works. The heart is, in many ways, your oldest companion, and this part of our lecture invites you to drift comfortably into its story, letting its soft patterns encourage rest while offering gentle insight. Understanding the human body is, as many thoughtful physicians and biologists have said, an investment in your own well-being. The more familiar you become with how your organs work, the more gracefully you move through life, and the more easily you can recognize what your body needs. Yet this understanding never needs to be rushed. Tonight, we simply begin by acknowledging the heart as one part of a vast and interconnected system, one organ among many that collaborates constantly with the rest of the body. Though we tend to focus on individual structures like the stomach when hungry or the eyes when tired, it is important to remember that none of these parts function alone. The heart is central to this delicate collaboration, and its quiet persistence is what allows every other system to work in harmony. Just as the various notes of a melody depend on one another, each aspect of physiology supports the rest, creating a whole that is both resilient and beautifully balanced. As you listen, imagine the heart not as a machine, but as a living, responsive part of you, one that adjusts to your needs without any conscious effort. The body is not a simple construct. It is a dynamic community of cells, tissues, organs, and organ systems, all working together moment by moment to maintain balance. Cells form tissues, tissues form organs, and organs form systems that communicate constantly in ways that feel effortless. What may seem to be automatic, such as the beating of your heart, actually emerges from countless coordinated signals between cells and structures, each responding to subtle changes in the internal and external environment. The heart is one of the most eloquent examples of this coordination. Though it is strong and muscular, it is also delicate and sensitive to signals from the nervous system, the endocrine system, and even the body's fluid and temperature balance. The heart does not act in isolation. It is a participant in a continuous dialogue with the rest of the body. When blood glucose falls, the nervous and digestive systems produce sensations that prompt you to eat. When temperature rises, the cardiovascular and integumentary systems work together to widen blood vessels near the surface of the skin, allowing heat to escape. Even something as simple as a moment of worry or a breath of cool air can gently shift the heart's rhythm. These subtle adjustments maintain homeostasis, the balanced internal environment that makes life possible. The heart is not merely beating, it is listening and responding, adapting continuously with a kind of quiet intelligence that goes almost unnoticed. As you drift deeper into this calm narrative, you might think of the heart as the soft engine that keeps the body's internal rivers flowing. Every moment, it pumps blood through an elaborate network of vessels, ensuring that oxygen, nutrients, hormones, and countless tiny signals reach the cells that depend on them. The vessels themselves form a system that wraps around the body in intricate patterns, like gentle pathways guiding each drop of blood. The cardiovascular and lymphatic systems work closely together, adjusting to changes in water balance and pressure, compensating when water levels rise or fall. Without this collaboration, the quiet equilibrium inside you could not be maintained. Yet everything happens without disturbance, almost as though the body were performing a silent symphony. For all its constancy, the heart is sensitive. It responds to emotion, temperature, posture, and even the quality of your thoughts. But it never judges or rushes. It simply adjusts, finding a new rhythm when needed, and returning to a familiar one when calm returns. While the nervous system manages rapid responses, the endocrine system guides longer-lasting shifts, releasing hormones that influence heart rate, blood pressure, and the strength of each beat. These adjustments unfold gently, often without your awareness, yet they ensure that the body remains stable despite external fluctuations. Even the act of breathing affects the heart, slowing slightly as you exhale, calming itself as the breath softens. The heart also has its own intrinsic beat. Within its muscular walls lies an internal pacemaker, a collection of specialized cells that generate electrical impulses without needing a direct signal from the brain. This built-in rhythm allows the heart to function even when isolated from external instruction, a quality that reflects the remarkable autonomy found throughout the body. It is evidence of how intricately life is designed, how deeply the different systems intertwine, yet retain enough independence to protect the whole. The heart's rhythm is not rigid. It adapts fluidly, sometimes quickening to meet a need, sometimes slowing to invite rest. Even now, as you listen in this moment of quiet, the heart is likely easing itself into a softer pattern, reflecting your gradual relaxation. This lecture is not about memorizing structures or facts. It is about drifting into a gentle understanding of the heart's nature. In the same way that forests function through the cooperation of trees, soil, air, and light, your body thrives through the cooperation of each organ system. The heart participates in this larger ecology of the body, supporting and being supported by every other part. Consider how water balance depends on the kidneys but also on the pressure generated by the heart, or how temperature control relies on blood vessels widening or narrowing in response to environmental shifts. Each system contributes something essential, and the heart's role is to ensure that every system is nourished and connected. As you continue to relax, perhaps you can sense the quiet reassurance that comes from understanding even a small part of this inner world. The heart's steady beat is a promise of continuity, a rhythm that carries you through every moment of your life without needing your oversight. In essence, the heart works quietly so that you may rest deeply. As we move further into this lecture, we will explore the heart's structure and its flow of blood, the way it coordinates with vessels and lungs, and how its electrical patterns form the foundation of every heartbeat. But for now, this gentle introduction is enough. Let the heart be what it has always been, a calm, persistent presence, guiding you into deeper rest, helping you drift easily into the next chapter of understanding. 2. The heart's peaceful place within the chest. When imagining the heart, many people picture it as a small, powerful engine, lodged somewhere within the center of the body, beating steadily and without pause. Yet its true location is more nuanced, more graceful, and more sheltered than these early impressions suggest. The heart rests within the thoracic cavity, positioned slightly left of the midline, held gently between the lungs, and cradled by the protective curve of the rib cage. This placement is not random, but rather the result of countless subtle evolutionary refinements, each one shaping a space where the heart can function in comfort, stability, and balance. As you ease into this part of the lecture, imagine the inside of the chest as a quiet room, dimly lit, softly cushioned, and entirely dedicated to supporting the heart's rhythmic work. Within this calm chamber, the heart beats with quiet assurance, expanding and contracting in a rhythm that never demands attention, yet sustains every aspect of life. The thoracic cavity, where the heart resides, is one of the body's most carefully organized spaces. It contains not only the heart but also the lungs, major vessels, the esophagus, the trachea, and numerous branching nerves. However, the heart is granted its own dedicated compartment within this cavity, known as the mediastinum. In this central space, the heart is protected from both external forces and internal crowding. It is positioned slightly off-center, resting closer to the left side of the chest, which is why heartbeats are often felt more prominently on that side. This subtle shift is an elegant adaptation, balancing the heart between the lungs with just enough room for each beat to expand outward without resistance. The body understands the importance of the heart's uninterrupted rhythm and has shaped its internal landscape to support the heart's work with remarkable precision. Surrounding the heart is the pericardium, a double-walled sac that provides both protection and freedom. Although we will explore the structure of the pericardium more deeply in the next part, its presence here is essential to understanding the heart's home. The pericardium secures the heart within the mediastinum, while allowing it to move with gentle fluidity, much like a lantern swaying slightly in a quiet breeze. This protective sac contains a thin layer of fluid that prevents friction. Without this soft cushion, the heart's constant motion would generate heat and strain, disrupting the invisible harmony that keeps every part of the chest functioning smoothly. Its placement here, protected, cushioned, yet unconfined, illustrates how the body prioritizes balance, creating a living environment that supports steady motion without interruption. The lungs play a gentle but significant role in shaping the heart's resting place. Their soft, expandable tissues envelop the heart on either side, leaving a narrow, sheltered channel where the heart can nestle securely. Each breath subtly influences the heart's position. When you inhale deeply, the lungs expand and the heart shifts slightly downward and inward. When you exhale, the lungs relax and the heart rises gently back into place. This movement is not abrupt or forceful, but rather part of a shared rhythm between the respiratory and cardiovascular systems. Their cooperation becomes even more evident when the body regulates temperature, as the cardiovascular and respiratory systems adjust together to release excess heat or preserve warmth. This interconnectedness highlights how the heart's placement is not merely anatomical but also functional, responding continuously to internal changes while maintaining its steady pulse. Above the heart rests the sternum, a shield-like bone bordered by cartilage and connected to the ribs. This bony structure serves as the heart's external armor, absorbing impacts and providing a strong yet flexible barrier against the outside world. But the sternum is not rigidly fixed. It expands and contracts with every breath, allowing the chest cavity to widen and narrow without disturbing the heart's steady rhythm. Beneath the heart lies the diaphragm, a dome-shaped muscle that marks the boundary between the thoracic and abdominal cavities. As the diaphragm moves, it gently lifts and lowers the heart, contributing to a subtle rocking motion that complements the heart's beat. This movement is almost imperceptible, yet it helps the heart settle naturally into its soft cradle of support, maintained by the tissues, ligaments, and vessels that anchor it in place. In this calm internal space, the heart sits just behind the sternum and slightly above the diaphragm, angled in a way that allows its apex, the pointed lower tip, to direct toward the left hip. This orientation ensures that blood is pumped efficiently upward and outward through the major arteries, reducing resistance and optimizing circulation. The heart's base, located at the upper portion of the organ, faces the right shoulder. These vessels, the superior and inferior vena cava, the pulmonary arteries and veins, and the aorta form a gentle arc around the heart, almost like protective branches. Their placement reflects the body's extraordinary attention to flow and conservation, ensuring each drop of blood moves smoothly along its intended path. The surrounding structures also create a sense of stability for the heart. Ligaments attach the pericardium to the diaphragm and the sternum, preventing excessive movement. At the same time, the heart is not immobilized. It is free to shift slightly with posture and respiration. When you lie down, the heart settles into a slightly more horizontal position. When you sit up, it aligns more vertically. These subtle adjustments allow the heart to function efficiently regardless of your position, reflecting the body's elegant adaptability. Even when you are asleep or reclining, the heart continues its quiet work, supported by the gentle architecture that surrounds it. Beyond anatomy, the heart's placement reflects the broader concept of physiological harmony. The cardiovascular system interacts constantly with systems dedicated to control, maintenance, and support. Its proximity to the lungs makes the exchange of oxygen and carbon dioxide efficient and effortless. Its central position ensures that blood can reach all regions of the body with relatively equal pressure. Its connection to the nervous system allows rapid adjustments when needed, such as widening blood vessels near the skin to promote heat loss or constricting them to preserve warmth. These examples show how the heart's location is more than simply where it is part of an intricate system of mutual regulation that safeguards homeostasis. If you imagine the chest cavity as a serene internal landscape, the heart feels like a small, warm presence nestled at its center, neither hidden nor exposed, but resting in the most fitting place for its quiet responsibilities. It is held securely, yet gently. It is connected to every part of the body through vessels and nerves that reach outward like delicate pathways, and it is supported by the lungs, the diaphragm, and the steady framework of the rib cage, all working in harmony to ensure that each heartbeat can unfold without strain or interruption. As you allow your breath to slow and deepen, you may sense your own heart resting in this carefully designed space, a reminder of the peaceful environment within you. The heart beats not with urgency, but with calm persistence, supported by the soft architecture of the thoracic cavity. With each beat, it reinforces the quiet truth that every part of your body has been shaped to maintain balance, comfort, and stability. In this gentle chamber, the heart finds room to work, room to adjust, and room to rest in its own way. And as we continue into the next part of this lecture, we will move closer to the heart structure itself, exploring the protective layers that surround it and the thoughtful design that allows it to function with such grace. 3. The pericardium, the heart's protective embrace. The heart, though strong and endlessly rhythmic, is also delicate in its own way, requiring a space where it can move freely without friction, strain, or disturbance. This quiet freedom is made possible by the pericardium, a soft, double-layered structure that surrounds the heart like a gentle, protective embrace. To understand how the heart functions with such constant grace, it is helpful to imagine the pericardium as a calm chamber, a sanctuary that allows the heart to expand, contract, and shift with each breath in a smooth, effortless manner. The body, in its remarkable wisdom, has provided the heart with this protective envelope, not to restrain it, but to cradle it, shielding it from external pressures while allowing it enough mobility to adapt to every moment of life's subtle changes. At first glance, the pericardium might seem like a simple sac, but its design reflects a delicate balance between firmness and flexibility. It is composed of two main layers: an outer fibrous layer that provides structure and anchoring, and an inner serous layer that offers softness and lubrication. Together, these layers create a space that protects the heart from sudden movements and friction, ensuring that each beat takes place in a steady, low-resistance environment. Without such a structure, the heart's constant motion millions of beats across a lifetime would create wear on the surrounding tissues. The pericardium prevents this through a small but essential presence. This fluid reduces friction to nearly zero, allowing the heart to glide effortlessly against its surroundings, much like a smooth pebble resting between folds of silk. Understanding the significance of the pericardium also means recognizing how the body organizes its systems with thoughtful precision. Inside the chest, organs must coexist within a confined but structured space. The heart lies in the mediastinum, embraced on either side by the lungs, supported below by the diaphragm, and shielded in front by the sternum and ribs. Each of these structures plays a role in protecting the heart, but none do so with the same gentleness as the pericardium, which allows the heart to respond to the subtle shifts of breathing, posture, and movement. With each inhalation, the lungs expand, nudging the heart slightly downward and inward. With each exhalation, they soften, letting the heart rise back into place. This delicate shifting would cause friction if the heart pressed directly against other tissues, but the pericardium's fluid coating ensures every motion is smooth and without resistance. The outer layer of the pericardium, known as the fibrous pericardium, anchors the heart in the thoracic cavity, ensuring it does not move excessively as the body changes position. This is not a rigid anchoring but a stabilizing support, much like the gentle tension of a hammock that keeps its occupant from drifting too far in any direction. By attaching to the diaphragm below and the sternum in front, the fibrous pericardium keeps the heart centered within the chest, maintaining a consistent orientation that allows the blood vessels, particularly the aorta, pulmonary arteries, and venae cavae, to remain aligned. This alignment is crucial for circulation, ensuring that blood flows smoothly in and out of the heart without twists, compressions, or unnecessary strain. Even in moments of quiet rest, the fibrous pericardium maintains that subtle stability that allows the heart to function with unbroken consistency. Within this sturdy outer layer rests the serous pericardium, a more delicate membrane composed of two portions: the parietal layer that lines the inner surface of the fibrous sac, and the visceral layer, also called the epicardium, which lies directly against the heart's surface. Between these two layers is the pericardial cavity, a small, fluid-filled space that is essential for reducing friction. Though the cavity contains only a few milliliters of fluid, this small amount is enough to create an environment where the heart can beat tens of thousands of times each day without irritation. It is an elegant solution, one that reflects the body's remarkable ability to use simple structures to achieve profound effects. The fluid is replenished and regulated naturally, kept at the optimal volume to maintain comfort and ease of motion. The importance of this lubrication becomes more apparent when considering the constant motion of the heart. Every heartbeat begins with a subtle electrical impulse generated by the sinoatrial node that spreads across the heart's surface, causing the atria and ventricles to contract in a coordinated sequence. As the heart contracts and relaxes, its walls shift, twist, and rebound, with a rhythm as steady as night following day. These movements might seem small, but they are powerful and continuous, occurring without pause every moment of life. The pericardial fluid ensures that all this motion happens without generating heat or friction, preserving the surrounding tissues and allowing the heart to operate with quiet precision. This reflects an important principle of physiology. The inner workings of the body rely on countless small balances that maintain stability and harmony across all systems. Yet the pericardium's role extends beyond lubrication and protection. It also helps maintain the heart's shape, preventing it from overexpanding when blood volume increases. This restraint is gentle, more like a reminder than a limitation, ensuring that the heart does not stretch beyond its optimal range. The body is always seeking balance, and the pericardium is one of the many structures that help maintain equilibrium. Just as the cardiovascular and urinary systems cooperate to regulate water balance in the body, adjusting pressure and volume to preserve equilibrium, the pericardium maintains a quiet check on the heart's size and shape, supporting its function while preventing excess. The pericardium also contributes to the way the heart communicates with other organ systems. Its close contact with the diaphragm means that the heart's movements shift in sync with breathing, while its connection to the sternum and major vessels stabilizes the heart during physical activity, emotional changes, or sudden shifts in posture. In moments of stress, when the nervous system signals the heart to beat more rapidly, the pericardium supports that increased movement without allowing chaotic shifting. In moments of calm, when the parasympathetic system slows the heart, the pericardium relaxes with it, maintaining the same gentle cushioning that allows the heart to return smoothly to its resting rhythm. This cooperation between systems reflects the integrated design of the body, where no part works entirely alone. Whether regulating temperature through changes in blood flow near the skin or adjusting to increases in physical activity, the heart responds to the needs of the internal environment, supported at every stage by its protective pericardial embrace. As you picture this structure, imagine the heart resting within its soft chamber, surrounded by a thin layer of luminous fluid. With each beat, the heart moves freely, never scraping against tissue, never straining. The pericardium is both boundary and support, a quiet companion that never interferes, but always protects. In this serene space, the heart's strength is balanced by its vulnerability, and the pericardium is the structure that preserves that balance. In the peaceful language of physiology, the pericardium is a reminder that strength often requires softness. Just as the systems of the body collaborate to maintain internal stability, so too does the pericardium collaborate with the heart, offering reassurance and balance. As the heart pumps blood toward the lungs, toward the body, and back into its own chambers, the pericardium remains constant, shielding without enclosing, supporting without restraining, and protecting without ever drawing attention to itself. In this quiet harmony of structure and function, the heart finds the perfect home for its ceaseless rhythm. As we continue into the next part, we will move deeper inward, exploring the layers of the heart wall itself, the strong muscles, delicate membranes, and coordinated tissues that allow each heartbeat to be both powerful and soft, reliable and serene. 4. The layers of the heart wall. The heart, though often imagined as a single unified structure, is actually composed of multiple layers that work together in a calm and coordinated rhythm. These layers form the heart wall, each one contributing something essential: strength, protection, smoothness, or structure. When we think of the heart beating tirelessly from the earliest days of life until the final moments, it is this layered design that makes such constancy possible. The heart wall is not thick or clumsy. It is refined, balanced, and elegantly arranged. Its layers lie together like gentle strata, each supporting the next with a quiet purpose that reflects the body's broader commitment to harmony and stability. As you settle more deeply into this softly paced lecture, imagine the heart wall not as a barrier, but as a set of carefully woven textures, each one sustaining the rhythm that guides your entire body. The outermost layer, called the epicardium, is actually the visceral portion of the pericardium, the same delicate membrane we explored previously. When it meets the heart's surface, it becomes something even more intimate, conforming to the curves and contours of the heart like a protective film, thin, supple, and infused with small vessels and nerves. The epicardium acts as both shield and interface. It softens the boundary between the heart and the structures around it, reducing friction and providing a gentle surface across which the pericardial fluid can glide. Without this layer, the heart's continuous motion would feel harsher, its edges more exposed. Instead, it moves as though wrapped in a soft, flexible scarf, free to expand and contract without resistance or irritation. This thin exterior layer reminds us that even in places where strength is essential, the body still values softness, cushioning the powerful movements underneath with something smooth and yielding. Beneath the epicardium lies the myocardium, the muscular middle layer and the true engine of the heart's movement. It is the thickest of the layers and the one responsible for generating the force needed to propel blood throughout the body. The myocardium is formed from specialized cardiac muscle cells that contract in a synchronized pattern, responding to electrical impulses that arise from within the heart itself. These cells, called cardiomyocytes, are unique. They are strong, like skeletal muscle cells, yet interconnected, like smooth muscle cells, allowing the whole heart to function as a cohesive unit. Their branching structure and interwoven arrangement create a beautifully intricate network, allowing signals to spread quickly and efficiently. The heart's ability to beat rhythmically without rest depends on this design. Each contraction begins with a whisper of electricity, followed by a wave of activity that moves calmly across the myocardium. This muscle never tires in the way that skeletal muscles do. It is nourished constantly by a rich supply of oxygenated blood and supported by cellular machinery built for endurance rather than sudden exertion. The heart's rhythm never stutters because the myocardium is built to sustain life's quiet continuity. The thickness of the myocardium varies depending on the chamber it surrounds. In the atria, which receive blood rather than pump it forcefully, the myocardium is thin and delicate. In the ventricles, especially the left ventricle, the muscle is much thicker, reflecting the greater force needed to push blood throughout the entire body. The left ventricle must send blood into the aorta and through a network of vessels that spans every region of the body, from the scalp to the toes. This task requires steady strength, and so evolution has shaped the myocardium accordingly. Yet even in its thickness, the myocardium works with quiet efficiency. It does not strain or struggle. It contracts with a smooth, rhythmic motion that reflects its endless coordination with the body's needs. This ability to adapt in real time to beat more rapidly during exertion or slow its pace during rest is supported by the broader cardiovascular and nervous systems. When the body warms, for example, the cardiovascular system adjusts by widening blood vessels near the skin, allowing heat to dissipate. These changes subtly influence the heart's workload, and the myocardium responds without hesitation. Beneath the myocardium lies the endocardium, the innermost layer of the heart wall. This thin, smooth membrane lines the heart's chambers and covers its valves, creating a frictionless surface for blood to flow across. The endocardium is composed of simple, squamous epithelial cells that resemble the lining of blood vessels. In fact, the endocardium is continuous with the inner lining of the vessels that enter and leave the heart, forming a seamless pathway for blood. This continuity ensures that blood encounters no abrupt transitions as it moves through the circulatory system, reducing turbulence and preserving the smoothness of flow. The endocardium also plays an important role in maintaining the health of the heart's interior. Its cells help regulate the movement of ions and signals, contributing to the timing and coordination of each heartbeat. Though thin and almost invisible, the endocardium is essential for making the heart's internal environment both efficient and serene. The three layers of the heart wall, epicardium, myocardium, and endocardium, reflect the same philosophy that appears throughout the body. Strength supported by softness, motion supported by stability, and complexity supported by quiet order. Each layer complements the others, creating a structure capable of both enduring strength and delicate precision. This is especially evident in how these layers work together during each heartbeat. As electrical signals travel through the heart, the endocardium helps regulate the pathway of those signals. The myocardium receives the signals and contracts in a coordinated pattern, expelling blood with gentle power. The epicardium envelops the heart as it moves, allowing every contraction to glide effortlessly within the protective embrace of the pericardial sac. With each beat, all three layers contribute to the movement, reinforcing the idea that the heart is not a simple pump, but a finely tuned instrument. The heart wall also participates in the broader collaboration of systems that maintain homeostasis. When the body needs to regulate temperature, the cardiovascular system responds by adjusting blood flow to the skin or conserving heat by reducing that flow. When water levels fluctuate, the cardiovascular and urinary systems work together to restore stability, adjusting pressure and volume to maintain a comfortable internal environment. The heart wall must be prepared for these changes, adapting to shifts in demand with every beat. The myocardium strengthens or relaxes depending on the heart rate. The endocardium accommodates changing volumes of blood, and the epicardium allows smooth movement even when the heart works more vigorously than usual. These adjustments occur seamlessly, allowing the heart to maintain its quiet rhythm despite the constant flux of internal conditions. If you imagine the heart wall from the outside inward, you might picture a series of textures: the smoothness of the epicardium, the powerful weave of the myocardium, and the delicate lining of the endocardium. Together, They form a structure capable of supporting life in every moment, from the softest rest to the most vigorous exertion. The heart wall, like the rest of the cardiovascular system, is a reminder of how the body balances strength and subtlety. It shows how layers can coexist in a way that enhances the whole, demonstrating the body's innate wisdom in its design. As you let this understanding settle gently into your awareness, consider how these layers reflect the quiet resilience within you. Your heart beats with strength but is softened by the structures that surround it. It moves constantly, yet never forces itself against the body that shelters it. With every beat, the layers of the heart wall support you, providing both the force that sustains life and the softness that makes that force sustainable. In the next part, we will move from the walls of the heart into its inner spaces, exploring the chambers that guide blood through its endless cycle of flow and how their design contributes to the tranquil yet powerful rhythm that accompanies you through every moment of your life. 5. The four chambers, a home of flowing rooms. Within the quiet shelter of the chest, beneath the soft protection of the pericardium and the layered strength of the heart wall, lie the four chambers that give the heart its calm, cyclical rhythm. These chambers, the right atrium, right ventricle, left atrium, and left ventricle, are like four gently connected rooms, each with its own purpose, shape, and flow. Together they create a peaceful sequence that repeats itself from the earliest weeks of life onward, a pattern so steady and reliable that it continues even when the mind is deep asleep, unaware of the quiet choreography happening beneath the ribs. To imagine these chambers is to imagine a small but beautifully constructed house, where each room guides blood along a path designed for both efficiency and grace. In this part of the lecture, we allow ourselves to drift gently through these spaces, observing the calm logic of their arrangement and the effortless rhythm of their work. The heart is divided into left and right halves, each with an upper chamber called an atrium and a lower chamber called a ventricle. This arrangement is not arbitrary. It reflects the two great journeys blood must take. One journey carries blood to the lungs so it can collect oxygen, and the other carries oxygen-rich blood to the rest of the body. These two paths require different pressures, different types of muscle work, and different shapes of flow. Yet, despite their distinct roles, the chambers function as parts of a single cycle, each one passing blood along gently and without delay, as though handing a small gift from one to the next. The chambers never hurry, and they never pause. They follow a rhythm that the body maintains automatically, adjusting only when needed, such as when the cardiovascular system joins forces with other systems to regulate temperature or fluid balance. The two atria are the quieter, more delicate chambers. The right atrium receives blood low in oxygen from the body, while the left atrium receives oxygen-rich blood from the lungs. The atria do not need thick muscular walls. Instead, they serve as calm receiving rooms, gently collecting blood until the heart's rhythm signals them to contract. When they do, the motion is soft and brief, just enough to send blood downward into the ventricles below. Their walls have a thin, understated strength, perfectly suited to their role, which depends more on timing and coordination than on physical force. The atria remind us that not every essential function requires power. Sometimes quiet guidance is enough. Below the atria lie the ventricles, the chambers responsible for the heart's more forceful actions. Though they share similar shapes, they differ greatly in their thickness and strength. The right ventricle pumps blood into the pulmonary arteries and toward the lungs, a short journey that requires only a modest amount of pressure. Its walls are relatively thin, and its contractions are gentle, reflecting the brevity of its task. The left ventricle, however, sends blood into the aorta and throughout the entire body, reaching the extremities and returning again in an endless loop. To support this, the left ventricle has the thickest walls of all the chambers. Its strength is steady rather than forceful, sustained rather than abrupt. It generates enough pressure to keep blood flowing smoothly across the vast landscape of the body, all while maintaining the heart's serene rhythm. Blood moves through each chamber in a pattern as calming as a slow, circular breath. It enters the right atrium from the body's tissues, then passes into the right ventricle, which guides it to the lungs. After receiving oxygen, the blood returns to the left atrium, descends into the left ventricle, and from there travels through the aorta into the body once more. Despite the complexity of this loop, the process itself feels surprisingly quiet and orderly. There are no abrupt stops or sharp transitions. Each chamber opens and closes at just the right moment, allowing the flow to move without turbulence or hesitation. This smoothness is ensured in part by the endocardium, the inner lining of the heart wall, which provides a seamless surface for blood to move across. Its continuity with the lining of blood vessels ensures that each chamber feels like a natural extension of the circulatory network rather than a separate space. The chambers also adapt constantly to the body's needs, even though we rarely feel these adjustments. During exercise, for example, the ventricles contract more forcefully to increase blood flow, while the atria work more quickly to keep up with the heightened rhythm. When the body needs to regulate temperature, the cardiovascular system widens or narrows blood vessels near the surface of the skin, and these changes affect the amount of blood returning to the chambers. The heart responds instinctively, altering the volume of blood it receives and the pressure with which it pumps to maintain balance. This interplay demonstrates again how the heart works not alone, but in concert with every other system in the body. Within the chambers, the valves of the heart act as gentle gatekeepers, ensuring that blood moves forward and never backward. Though we will explore the valves more deeply in the next part, it is helpful here to imagine how they work inside these flowing rooms. As the atria fill, the valves between the atria and ventricles, called the atrioventricular valves, hang open like soft curtains. When the atria contract, the blood flows easily downward, but when the ventricles contract, these valves close gently to prevent backflow, allowing the blood to be directed outward instead. Similar valves sit at the exits of the ventricles, opening at just the right moment to allow blood to leave the heart, then closing softly to maintain the steady rhythm. These motions are not loud or abrupt. They resemble the flutter of fabric responding to a breeze, perfectly synchronized with the heart's changing pressures. The chambers also interact with the electrical signals that govern each heartbeat. The sinoatrial node, located in the right atrium, initiates the rhythm by sending impulses outward across the atrial walls. These signals cause the atria to contract, guiding blood downward into the ventricles. As the signal reaches the atrioventricular node and spreads through the ventricles, the lower chambers respond by contracting in turn. This orderly progression of activity ensures that the chambers do not work against one another. Instead, they move in calm succession, upper chambers first, lower chambers second, creating a flowing sequence designed for efficiency and harmony. The heart's chambers are living participants in this electrical language, responding instantly and quietly to every impulse. Even at rest, the chambers are never truly still. They fill and empty, expand and relax, following the constant rhythm that supports every physiological process. When water levels in the body change, the heart adjusts. When blood glucose rises or falls, the body's systems collaborate, influencing heart rate, pressure, and rhythm in ways that maintain homeostasis. Inside the heart, the chambers respond to all of this gracefully, expanding or contracting with each subtle change. Their walls sense internal pressures and adapt in real time, ensuring that the flow remains smooth and uninterrupted. As you visualize these four chambers, 2 soft atria above and 2 steady ventricles below, you may begin to see the heart not as a machine but as an elegant structure designed for balance. Each chamber has a personality of its own, shaped by its purpose. Each chamber contributes to a cycle that feels endless, not because it is forceful, but because it is gentle and coordinated. Through their shared rhythm, the chambers create a home for blood that invites movement rather than demands it. In the next part of our quiet journey, we will continue inward, shifting our attention to the valves that stand between these chambers, delicate structures that open and close with perfect timing, guiding the flow with a softness that mirrors the heart's thoughtful design. 6. The valves, gatekeepers of silent circulation. Within the soft interior of the heart, where the four chambers form a rhythmic sequence of receiving and delivering blood, a set of delicate structures ensures that this flow moves in only one direction. These structures, the heart valves, serve as quiet gatekeepers, opening and closing with each beat, guiding the movement of blood with a precision so smooth that it often goes unnoticed. Without these valves, the heart's rhythm would lose its order, and the gentle cycles of circulation would collapse into confusion. Instead, the valves maintain a calm, unidirectional pathway, allowing blood to travel freely from one chamber to the next and outward into the vessels that nourish every cell of the body. They do this without sound, without abrupt force, and without consciousness, responding only to changes in pressure like simple, responsive curtains in a steady breeze. The heart contains 4 valves, each positioned between chambers or between a chamber and its corresponding vessel. On the right side of the heart lies the tricuspid valve, resting between the right atrium and right ventricle. When the right atrium fills with blood returning from the body, the tricuspid valve hangs open, letting the blood drift downward into the ventricle below. Once the ventricle begins to contract, the valve closes gently, its leaflets meeting neatly to ensure that the blood moves forward toward the lungs rather than flowing backward into the atrium. Like all of the heart's valves, it does not rely on muscles to open or close. Rising pressure in the ventricle pushes the valve shut, while the lower pressure of the filling phase allows it to fall open. This quiet responsiveness is one of the traits that define the valves of the heart structures that do not need conscious control or even active energy, operating entirely through the natural patterns of fluid movement. On the left side lies the mitral valve, also called the bicuspid valve, which separates the left atrium from the left ventricle. Its 2 leaflets resemble the doors of a small, delicate gateway. When oxygen-rich blood returns from the lungs into the left atrium, the mitral valve opens, allowing the blood to flow downward into the powerful left ventricle. When the ventricle contracts, preparing to send blood out through the aorta and into the body, the mitral valve closes firmly, preventing any backward movement. Because the left ventricle generates the highest pressure of all the chambers, the mitral valve must seal especially well, and it does so through a subtle system of support known as chordae tendineae. These tendinous cords anchor the valve leaflets to small muscles along the ventricular wall, ensuring they close smoothly and evenly. Yet even these structures perform their role gently. They do not pull the valves shut, but instead prevent them from swinging too far upward when the pressure beneath them rises. This arrangement reflects the same cooperation seen throughout the body, each structure doing just enough, but never more than necessary, to maintain calm balance. The remaining 2 valves, the pulmonary and aortic valves, lie at the exit points of the ventricles. Unlike the atrioventricular valves, which hang like soft doors between chambers, the pulmonary and aortic valves behave more like small, cupped pockets that open and close with each surge of blood. The pulmonary valve sits at the opening of the right ventricle, guiding blood into the pulmonary artery and toward the lungs. When the right ventricle contracts, the rising pressure pushes the 3 leaflets of the pulmonary valve outward, opening them like petals in a soft, outward blossom. When the contraction ends and the ventricle relaxes, the pressure within it falls, and the blood behind the valve gently fills its cusps, causing them to drift closed once more. The motion is delicate and almost breath-like, a small outward opening followed by a gentle return to rest. The aortic valve operates in much the same way, but with a greater sense of strength and endurance, for it sits at the exit of the left ventricle, where the highest pressures in the heart are generated. When the left ventricle contracts, blood surges upward into the aorta, pushing the 3 leaflets of the aortic valve open. Once the ventricle relaxes, the pressure in the aorta exceeds the pressure within the heart, and this causes the cusps of the valve to fall back into place, sealing the opening with a quiet finality. Though the pressures here are greater, the motion is still soft and precise, demonstrating the heart's ability to handle powerful forces with calm, fluid control. It is this balance between strength and softness that allows the heart to work continuously without strain, adapting seamlessly to the changing conditions of the body. The valves do not act alone. They depend on the coordinated motions of the chambers and the layers of the heart wall to create the pressure differences that open and close them. When the atria fill with blood, their thin walls stretch gently, preparing for the next quiet contraction that will guide blood downward. When the ventricles fill, the walls of the myocardium sense the increasing volume, preparing for the cycle of tightening and releasing that sends blood outward. In these movements, the valves follow along effortlessly, responding like observers who act only when conditions change. This continuous interplay reflects the broader theme of collaboration that appears everywhere within the body organs and systems, working together to maintain a stable internal environment. The heart does not force its valves open, nor do the valves resist the heart's rhythm. They move as part of the same seamless flow that defines the cardiovascular system. Even as the valves open and close with each heartbeat, we rarely feel or hear their work. Their motion produces no discomfort, no friction, and no sensation, thanks in part to the smooth lining of the endocardium. This delicate inner surface extends across each valve leaflet, reducing turbulence and allowing blood to glide like a quiet stream along polished stone. The valves maintain a one-way path, making the cycle of circulation efficient and steady. This unidirectional flow is crucial for homeostasis, the balanced internal state that the body relies on to perform all its functions. Whether regulating temperature through widening and narrowing blood vessels, or coordinating with the endocrine system to respond to changes in metabolism, the cardiovascular system depends on the quiet reliability of these valves to maintain consistent flow. When pressures in the body shift, such as during changes in water balance, temperature regulation, or emotional states, the valves adapt along with the rest of the heart. The cardiovascular, urinary, and lymphatic systems often work together to regulate fluid levels, and these shifts subtly influence the volume of blood returning to the heart. More blood returning means more stretching of the atria and ventricles, which in turn affects how the valves open and close. These changes are so natural and so finely tuned that they occur without any conscious awareness. The valves simply respond, like gentle instruments following the cues of an unseen conductor, keeping the heart's rhythm smooth even when the body's needs are in constant motion. As you picture these valves thin, soft, and elegantly formed, you may notice that their design mirrors the overall personality of the heart: quiet, responsive, and tirelessly precise. They do not push or resist, they guide. They do not dominate the flow, they shape it. Their role is supportive rather than forceful, yet without them the entire rhythm of the body would lose its calm coherence. In the way they open gracefully and close with a delicate assurance, they reflect the wider philosophy of the body's inner workings, where strength and gentleness coexist within the same motion. In the next part of this lecture, we will follow the path of a single drop of blood as it moves through these valves and chambers, exploring how it journeys through the heart and into the wider world of vessels that carry it throughout the body. Through this journey, the quiet work of the valves becomes even clearer, as we see how they maintain the beautiful order that allows life to unfold with such steady ease. 6. The journey of a drop of blood. Imagine, for a moment, a single drop of blood beginning its quiet journey within the heart. It is small, almost weightless, drifting through the warm interior of the body with no sense of urgency. And yet, through this seemingly simple movement, it will nourish tissues, deliver oxygen, support chemical balance, and participate in countless subtle exchanges that sustain life. Its path is not chaotic or rushed. Instead, it unfolds with gentle precision, moving through chambers and vessels that guide it as naturally as a winding stream follows the contours of the land. In this part of the lecture, we allow ourselves to slow down enough to follow this one drop moving at the same serene pace the body keeps as it maintains homeostasis, balancing oxygen, nutrients, water, and temperature without ever disturbing the heart's calm rhythm. Its journey begins in the right atrium, the receiving chamber for all the blood returning from the body's tissues. Here, the drop arrives with many companions, carrying the subtle traces of the work it has done: carbon dioxide from cellular respiration, gentle chemical signals absorbed from organs, and the imprint of the body's ever-shifting internal landscape. The right atrium is a peaceful place, with thin walls and soft curves that gather the returning blood until the next quiet contraction invites it onward. When the atrium contracts, the drop flows effortlessly downward, slipping through the open tricuspid valve. There is no resistance, no turbulence, only a quiet path created by pressure differences, guiding the blood naturally from one space to the next. Now, within the right ventricle, the drop rests just long enough for the chamber to fill and prepare for contraction. The right ventricle does not need to generate a large amount of force. Its destination, the nearby lungs, lies only a short distance away, and so the walls of this chamber are thinner and more flexible than those of the left ventricle. When it contracts, the drop is guided upward toward the pulmonary valve, which opens gently in response to the rising pressure beneath it. The motion feels like a door drifting open on a soft breeze. Once through the valve, the drop enters the pulmonary artery, beginning the quiet journey toward the lungs. Within the lungs, the drop of blood reaches one of the most delicate and essential interfaces in the body, the thin membrane where gases are exchanged. Here, the air you breathe fills tiny sacs called alveoli. Across their soft walls, oxygen drifts inward, while carbon dioxide moves outward to be released through exhalation. For our drop of blood, this moment is transformative. Its hemoglobin molecules, protein structures designed specifically to carry gases, release carbon dioxide, and bind to fresh oxygen. This process requires no force, no conscious control. It is driven entirely by simple differences in concentration and pressure, the same natural gradients that guide water, heat, and nutrients throughout the body as part of the larger system of homeostasis. Once oxygenated, the drop begins its return journey toward the heart. It travels through the pulmonary veins, the only veins in the body that carry oxygen-rich blood. These vessels lead directly into the left atrium, where the drop enters a chamber that feels similar to the right atrium, though its purpose is subtly different. The left atrium gathers oxygenated blood with quiet patience, waiting for the moment when its gentle contraction will deliver it through the open mitral valve and into the left ventricle. This passage is smooth and unobstructed, ensured by the same endocardial lining that maintains a seamless surface throughout the heart's interior. The left ventricle is the true powerhouse of the heart, with thick muscular walls designed to generate the pressure needed to send blood throughout the body. As the drop settles inside, it briefly joins the pool of blood gathered for the next contraction. The heart adjusts its rhythm constantly, responding to signals from the nervous system, the endocrine system, and the needs of the moment, whether regulating temperature by adjusting blood flow to the skin or maintaining fluid balance in collaboration with the urinary system. The drop simply waits, unaware of the complex coordination that prepares the ventricle for its next graceful movement. When the left ventricle contracts, the pressure rises decisively but smoothly, guiding the drop upward toward the aortic valve. Like the pulmonary valve, this structure opens outward in response to the surge of blood, allowing the drop to enter the ascending aorta. From there, it joins the great branching network of arteries that will carry it toward distant tissues. The aorta is the largest artery in the body, and its strong walls absorb the pulse of the ventricle before sending the blood onward. As the drop travels through these vessels, it remains part of a system designed to distribute resources evenly and respond gently to shifting demands. When the body grows warm, the cardiovascular system widens the small vessels near the skin, allowing heat to escape. When the body is cool, those same vessels narrow, conserving warmth. Our drop participates in all of these subtle adjustments simply by moving along its path. Eventually, the drop reaches the smallest vessels of all, the capillaries. Here, where the walls of the vessels are only a single cell thick, the drop is able to deliver its oxygen to waiting cells. This exchange is soft and unhurried, driven again by natural gradients that guide molecules where they need to go. The cells accept the oxygen and use it to support their functions, movement, repair, communication, or the countless small tasks that keep tissues alive. In return, the drop absorbs carbon dioxide and other byproducts of metabolism, preparing for its journey back to the heart. From the capillaries, the drop flows into small veins that gradually merge with larger ones, forming a calm return route toward the right side of the heart. These veins carry the blood through a series of gentle curves and branching pathways, eventually leading into one of the two great vessels that bring blood back into the right atrium, the superior and inferior vena cava. The drop enters whichever pathway corresponds to its origin in the body, rejoining countless other drops that have completed their own quietly purposeful journeys. Once again, in the right atrium, the cycle begins anew. The heart welcomes the returning blood without strain, without interruption. Its chambers contract in their familiar pattern. Its valves open and close with perfect timing. And all the while, the systems of the body collaborate to maintain the internal conditions that make this cycle possible. Temperature, water balance, nutrient levels, and the countless small variables that define homeostasis. Every drop of blood participates in this balance, contributing to a system that is endlessly dynamic, yet remarkably steady. As you reflect on the journey of this single drop, you may begin to appreciate the quiet beauty of circulation, not as a rapid, mechanical process, but as a continuous, gentle movement that unfolds with the same ease as a slow tide. Each step of the journey is guided by natural rhythms and soft gradients. Each transition is seamless, and each moment reflects the heart's profound ability to sustain life while maintaining the calm that allows the body to rest. In the next part of our lecture, we will explore the right side of the heart more deeply, discovering how its structure and rhythm prepare blood for the renewal it finds within the lungs. 7. The right side. Preparing blood for fresh oxygen. The right side of the heart is a place of gentle beginnings, where blood returns from its long journey throughout the body and pauses for a moment of calm before it continues on to the lungs for renewal. This side of the heart does not work with great force or high pressure. Instead, it works with softness and patience, receiving blood that is tired from its travels and guiding it toward the lungs so it can be refreshed with oxygen. Its role may seem quiet compared to the strong push of the left side, yet it is essential to the rhythm of life. Every movement in the right side of the heart is shaped by a balance of pressures, a smooth sequence of openings and closings, and the seamless flow that defines the entire cardiovascular system. To imagine the right side clearly, it helps to think of it as the first gentle room a traveler steps into after returning home. Blood arriving in the right atrium has given away its oxygen to the tissues, supported countless processes, and carried signals from all over the body. It now enters this soft chamber with low pressure, guided not by force but by the natural pull of returning flow. The right atrium itself has thin walls, designed more for receiving than for pushing. Because the blood arrives with such little pressure, this chamber must remain flexible and welcoming. Inside it, the endocardium creates a smooth surface, allowing the blood to collect without turbulence. The heart never rushes this step. It waits for the right moment, a quiet beat signaled by electrical rhythms to gently contract and send the blood downward through the tricuspid valve. This first transition sets the tone for the right side's entire purpose. The motion is not forceful or abrupt. It is almost like passing a small lantern from one pair of hands to another, each movement guided by coordination rather than strength. The tricuspid valve opens simply because the pressure in the right atrium becomes slightly higher than the pressure in the right ventricle. It responds naturally to the changing conditions, just like many of the body's internal systems respond automatically to maintain homeostasis. When water levels shift, when temperature must be regulated, or when the nervous system sends signals to adjust heart rate, these responses unfold gently and without conscious effort. The right side of the heart receives these influences and adapts seamlessly. Once the blood moves through the tricuspid valve, it enters the right ventricle. Compared to the powerful left ventricle, this chamber is softer, with thinner walls and a less forceful contraction. Its task is modest yet essential, to move the blood forward into the lungs. Because the lungs lie only a short distance away, the right ventricle does not need to generate high pressure. Instead, it acts like a calm guide, offering just enough force to send the blood into the pulmonary artery, where it can begin its path toward the lungs' delicate air sacs. Inside the right ventricle, the myocardium contracts in a smooth, spiraling motion. These contractions are coordinated by the electrical signals that begin in the sinoatrial node and flow through the heart with quiet precision. The wall of the right ventricle is designed to press gently against the blood, creating a forward movement that feels almost like a wave. When the ventricle begins to contract, the tricuspid valve closes at the right moment, preventing the blood from slipping backward. At the same time, the pulmonary valve opens, responding to the rising pressure beneath it. All of this occurs in a cycle so finely tuned that it feels effortless. As the pulmonary valve opens, the blood flows upward into the pulmonary artery. This marks an important shift in the journey. The blood leaves the heart and moves toward the lungs for renewal. The pulmonary artery is unique among arteries because it carries blood low in oxygen, guiding it toward the place where exchange can occur. This vessel branches gently, dividing into smaller pathways that lead to each lung. Through these vessels, the blood travels quietly, encountering no harsh turns or abrupt changes. It simply follows the path laid out for it, inching closer to the moment when it will release carbon dioxide and receive oxygen in return. The right side of the heart prepares the blood for this exchange, not by altering its contents, but by guiding it with the correct pressure and rhythm. If the pressure were too high, the delicate vessels in the lungs could be damaged. If it were too low, the blood might not reach the alveoli efficiently. The right ventricle must therefore maintain a perfect balance, one supported by the layers of the heart wall and the smooth communication between organ systems. Its stability reflects the same kind of balance seen when the cardiovascular and lymphatic systems work together to regulate fluid levels, or when the nervous system adjusts the rhythm of the heart to meet internal needs. As the blood continues its journey toward the lungs, the right side of the heart rests and prepares for the next cycle. Its chambers fill again, its valves open and close, and its walls relax into the familiar pattern. This ongoing rhythm reflects a profound truth about the body's design. Even simple steps are supported by countless small adjustments made behind the scenes. The right side of the heart listens constantly to the state of the body, its temperature, hydration, emotional state, and even its posture. These subtle shifts influence how quickly the heart beats, how forcefully it contracts, and how easily the chambers fill. The right side adapts instantly, maintaining steady flow without the need for conscious awareness. For example, when the body warms, vessels near the skin widen to release heat, and this shift changes how much blood returns to the right atrium. The heart responds by adjusting its rhythm, ensuring that circulation remains smooth. Similar adjustments occur when the body experiences changes in water balance. The cardiovascular and urinary systems work together to maintain equilibrium, and the right side of the heart responds quietly by altering its filling patterns. These responses may seem invisible, but they are essential to maintaining the internal conditions required for life. As you picture the right side of the heart performing all these tasks, you may feel a sense of calm in knowing that such intricate coordination happens steadily and silently. The right atrium and right ventricle do not push or force the blood. They guide it gently toward the lungs, preparing it for the renewal that will take place there. They form the first half of a cycle that repeats with unfailing reliability, supported by the body's broader systems of regulation and balance. When the blood leaves the right side and travels toward the lungs, it enters a world designed for exchange where each breath provides an opportunity for renewal. And after this renewal occurs, the blood will return to the left side of the heart, where a new phase of its journey begins. In the next part of our lecture, we will follow this transition, exploring how the lungs and cardiovascular system work together to refresh the blood in a gentle, unbroken cycle. 8. The lungs and their soft exchange. When blood leaves the right ventricle and enters the pulmonary artery, it begins one of the most delicate and essential passages in the body, a journey into the quiet landscape of the lungs. Here, amid a vast network of branching pathways, the blood undergoes a transformation so gentle and effortless that it almost feels like a natural exhalation. This part of the lecture invites you to drift slowly into this journey, imagining the lungs not as mechanical structures, but as soft, expansive spaces where air and blood meet in calm cooperation. Everything that happens within the lungs occurs through subtle gradients, silent exchanges, and movements shaped by breath, all contributing to the larger system of homeostasis that keeps the internal environment stable and the body at ease. To picture the lungs clearly, imagine them as two quiet forests of air-filled branches. The trachea divides into bronchi, which divide into smaller bronchioles, which eventually end in tiny sacs called alveoli. These alveoli are delicate, balloon-like structures surrounded by an intricate network of capillaries. A single breath fills them with fresh air. When the drop of blood arrives here, carried gently through the pulmonary artery and into the narrowing vessels, it reaches the capillaries that cling to the surfaces of these tiny sacs. The capillary walls are incredibly thin, just a single layer of cells designed for the simple, natural exchange of gases. At this moment, a quiet balance is achieved. The blood carries carbon dioxide gathered from the body's tissues, while the alveoli contain oxygen drawn in from the outside air. Because of the differences in concentration, carbon dioxide drifts out of the blood and into the alveoli, while oxygen moves inward, binding to hemoglobin. This moment is not driven by force or effort. It is guided merely by the laws of diffusion, the same gentle principles that allow nutrients, heat, and other substances to move naturally throughout the body. This quiet exchange is an example of how the respiratory and cardiovascular systems collaborate, each performing a vital part of a larger process that sustains life with steady ease. As oxygen enters the blood, the hemoglobin molecules transform, their structure shifting subtly as they bind to the oxygen molecules. These changes are not chaotic. They occur with the same calm responsiveness as every other physiological adjustment. Just as the cardiovascular system widens blood vessels near the surface of the skin to release heat when the body grows warm, allowing temperature to be regulated through the cooperation of multiple systems, the respiratory system regulates the exchange of gases in rhythm with the heart's flow. Everything works together, moving at a pace set not by haste but by the body's natural needs. The alveoli, though incredibly small, number in the millions, providing a vast surface area for the exchange of gases. Their walls are kept moist to facilitate diffusion, and their elasticity allows them to expand and contract with each breath. Surrounding them, the capillaries weave like fine threads, forming an intimate connection between air and blood. These capillaries are part of the same network that guides blood throughout the body, and they represent one of the most delicate points of contact in the entire circulatory system. The thinness of their walls, the softness of their surroundings, and the smoothness of their lining created by the endothelium make them perfectly suited for this moment of renewal. Meanwhile, the pulmonary veins carry oxygenated blood away from the lungs, bringing it gradually back toward the heart. This return is calm and unhurried, reflecting the low pressure within the pulmonary circulation. Unlike the arteries throughout the body, which must carry blood under greater force to reach distant tissues, the body has designed this pathway with care, ensuring that the pressure remains low enough to protect the delicate structures of the lungs while still maintaining a steady, efficient flow. As the cardiovascular and lymphatic systems work to regulate fluid levels, preventing excess accumulation in tissues, the pulmonary system must also maintain balance to keep the alveoli clear and the exchange of gases unimpeded. Breath plays a central role in this entire process. With each inhalation, the diaphragm contracts downward, creating space within the chest and allowing the lungs to expand. This expansion draws air in, bringing oxygen to the alveoli. With each exhalation, the diaphragm relaxes, and air is gently pushed out, carrying carbon dioxide away. This rhythm aligns so naturally with the heart's beat that the two systems often feel like parts of the same movement. When you breathe slowly and deeply, your heart often slows in response, adjusting to the body's relaxed state. When you breathe more quickly, whether due to exertion or emotion, the heart responds by increasing its rhythm. This interplay between the respiratory and cardiovascular systems is essential for keeping the internal environment stable, allowing chemical, temperature, and fluid balances to be maintained through quiet cooperation. As oxygen-rich blood gathers in the pulmonary veins, preparing to return to the left side of the heart, each drop carries with it the potential for renewal. It now holds the oxygen needed to support the body's many systems, the muscular system as it moves, the nervous system as it communicates, and the endocrine system as it releases hormones that circulate through the bloodstream. Even the smallest actions, such as regulating water levels or adjusting heat loss through widened blood vessels, depend on the transport of substances that this newly oxygenated blood enables. The lungs provide the raw material, and the heart delivers it with gentle consistency. As the blood returns to the left atrium, it enters a chamber that feels very much like the right atrium, but with a slightly different purpose. Here, the blood that has been gently renewed gathers once more, forming a calm pool that will soon be sent into the left ventricle. The left atrium contracts softly, pushing the blood through the mitral valve, a gateway that opens without resistance, responding only to the change in pressure. Once through this opening, the blood reaches the left ventricle, where it will rest again before beginning its next journey outward into the body. This movement marks the transition from renewal to distribution, from the quiet of the lungs to the strength of the systemic circulation. The entire journey through the lungs, from the arrival of oxygen-poor blood to the return of oxygen-rich blood, is one of nature's most elegant cycles. It requires no conscious effort, no moment of decision. Just as the heart maintains its rhythm through constant adjustments, the lungs expand and contract with steady, predictable ease. Their softness supports the heart's strength. Their spaciousness complements the heart's focused movement, and their gentle exchange ensures that every beat carries fresh life to the cells that depend on it. As you reflect on the lungs' quiet work, imagine the soft rise and fall of your own breath. Each inhalation invites renewal. Each exhalation releases what the body no longer needs. This simple cycle mirrors the heart's rhythm, and together, they sustain the internal harmony that allows the body to rest deeply and function smoothly. In the next part of our lecture, we will return to the left side of the heart and explore how it transforms this renewed blood into a steady, life-giving flow that reaches every corner of the body. 9. The left side, delivering life to the body. Both. When blood returns from the lungs carrying fresh oxygen, it arrives gently at the left side of the heart, where strength and softness blend into a rhythm designed to nourish the entire body. This side of the heart, though similar in appearance to the right, carries a different kind of responsibility. It must receive blood that has been renewed by the breath, hold it for a moment of calm, and then send it out with enough quiet force to reach every tissue, every organ, and every delicate corner of the human form. If the right side of the heart is like a gentle usher, guiding tired blood toward renewal, then the left side is a patient, steady guardian, entrusted with carrying life's essential resources to where they are needed. The motions here are smooth but strong, and they reflect the deeper collaboration between the cardiovascular system and the rest of the body, which depends on these subtle deliveries to maintain homeostasis, internal balance, and quiet stability. Imagine the oxygen-rich blood arriving at the left atrium through the soft pathways of the pulmonary veins. These veins, unlike most others in the body, carry blood full of oxygen rather than returning it depleted. Their walls are compliant and calm, allowing the blood to flow effortlessly into the waiting chamber of the left atrium. This chamber, like its counterpart on the right, has thin and graceful walls, designed not for strong contractions, but for gentle collection and release. As the blood gathers, the atrium expands slightly, its walls stretching with the same delicate elasticity that allows the chambers of the heart to accommodate fluctuating volumes. In moments when more oxygen is needed, perhaps during physical exertion, heightened emotion, or changes in body temperature, the cardiovascular and respiratory systems coordinate to bring more oxygen-rich blood into the atrium, ensuring that the body's needs are always quietly met. When the left atrium contracts, the motion is like a soft gesture, guiding the blood downward through the mitral valve. This valve opens gently, responding only to the shift in pressure between the atrium and the ventricle below. Its two leaflets drift apart, allowing the blood to pass smoothly into the left ventricle. This transition happens without turbulence, thanks to the smooth, continuous lining of the endocardium that covers each structure of the heart's interior. The endocardium's delicate texture reduces friction and keeps the motion of the blood quiet and orderly, much like the calm surface of a slow-moving stream. Once the blood enters the left ventricle, it rests there momentarily as the ventricle fills, preparing for the next contraction. The left ventricle is the heart's most powerful chamber, designed to generate the pressure needed to send blood across the entire body. Its walls are thick and muscular, with fibers arranged in a spiraling pattern that allows for a smooth and efficient contraction. This strength, however, is not abrupt or forceful in a way that disrupts the heart's overall rhythm. Instead, it is controlled, steady, and deliberate, reflecting the delicate balance the body maintains across all systems. For example, when water levels change, the urinary and cardiovascular systems cooperate to preserve internal balance, adjusting blood volume and pressure with subtle precision. The left ventricle responds instantly to these adjustments, accommodating small variations in volume while maintaining the same calm, purposeful motion. When the left ventricle contracts, its motion is both firm and graceful. The pressure within the chamber rises gradually, prompting the mitral valve to close gently behind the blood, ensuring that none flows backward. At the same moment, the aortic valve opens, responding to the difference in pressure between the ventricle and the aorta. Through this opening, the blood enters the largest artery in the body, beginning its journey outward toward every organ and tissue. The aorta arches elegantly upward before curving downward. These vessels guide the blood through the body with the same quiet constancy that the heart maintains beat after beat. As the oxygen-rich blood leaves the heart, it empowers the body to perform an extraordinary range of functions. It carries oxygen to the muscles, allowing even the smallest fibers to contract and release with ease. It nourishes the nervous system, which depends on a steady supply of oxygen to transmit signals and maintain awareness. It supports the digestive system, which needs oxygen to break down nutrients and distribute them throughout the body. And it works hand in hand with the endocrine system, allowing hormones to travel through the bloodstream to reach distant tissues and regulate essential processes. The cooperation between these systems is continuous, subtle, and deeply integrated. The left side of the heart plays a crucial role in maintaining homeostasis, the internal balance that allows the body to function without disruption. This balance involves regulating temperature, water levels, chemical composition, and countless other factors. When the body becomes too warm, The cardiovascular system widens vessels near the surface of the skin, directing more blood to these areas to release heat. When the body becomes cool, the opposite occurs. Vessels narrow to preserve warmth, directing more blood to the core. These adjustments influence how much blood returns to the left atrium and ventricle, and the heart responds naturally, without hesitation. When blood volume increases, the chambers stretch slightly to accommodate it. When volume decreases, they relax and adjust. Every beat reflects this constant responsiveness. Even as the heart works to distribute oxygen and maintain balance, it also adapts to emotional and environmental changes. During moments of calm, the left ventricle's contractions may soften slightly, reflecting the slower rhythm encouraged by the parasympathetic nervous system. In moments of stress or excitement, the sympathetic nervous system increases heart rate and contraction strength, preparing the body for action. These shifts do not disrupt the flow. Instead, they demonstrate the quiet sophistication of the heart's design. Every system, from the nervous to the respiratory, from the muscular to the endocrine, contributes to the continuous dialogue that shapes the heart's rhythm. As the oxygen-rich blood flows through the capillaries, it releases the oxygen carried from the lungs and absorbs carbon dioxide and other byproducts of cellular activity. This exchange allows tissues to function smoothly, supporting everything from movement to thought. Once the oxygen is delivered, the blood begins its journey back toward the right side of the heart, where the cycle will continue. This cycle is steady, calm, and endlessly repeating, maintained by the left side's gentle strength and the heart's consistent responsiveness. As you imagine this continuous flow, you may find comfort in the idea that the body is always tending to itself, always adjusting, always moving gently toward balance. The left side of the heart is a testament to the body's capacity for quiet strength. It carries blood with enough force to sustain life, yet it does so with steadiness rather than strain, with grace rather than forcefulness. In the next part of this lecture, we will move outward from the chambers and valves into the wide and branching networks of vessels that guide the blood through the body. These vessels, arteries, veins, and capillaries work hand in hand with the heart to maintain the gentle, continuous rhythm of circulation. 10 arteries, veins, and capillaries. As the blood leaves the left side of the heart, carrying with it the quiet gift of oxygen gathered from the lungs, it enters a vast and branching landscape of vessels that guide its journey throughout the body. These vessels, arteries, veins, and capillaries form a network so intricate that it reaches nearly every cell, weaving through tissues in pathways that feel almost like the soft roots of an ancient forest. They are not merely channels for blood, they are living structures that respond to the body's needs with subtle adjustments, widening or narrowing, relaxing or contracting, guiding each drop of blood with a balance of strength and delicacy. Though they differ in size, structure, and function, they work together with deep harmony, forming the essential foundation of the cardiovascular system's ability to maintain homeostasis and support life's quiet continuity. To begin understanding these vessels, imagine the arteries first, for they are the vessels that greet the blood as it leaves the heart. Arteries are strong and resilient, built to withstand the pressure generated by the left ventricle's powerful contraction. Their walls contain layers of smooth muscle and elastic tissue, allowing them to stretch gently with each pulse before returning to their original shape. This elasticity ensures that blood does not surge abruptly but flows in a steady, continuous wave. The largest artery, the aorta, serves as the grand trunk of this branching system. From its arch, smaller arteries extend outward, forming a network that reaches the head, arms, stomach, legs, and every organ along the way. Each artery divides into finer branches, becoming smaller and more delicate as they move farther from the heart, much like tree limbs tapering into branches and then into thin twigs. Though arteries are often described as strong, their strength is not rigid. It is flexible, adaptable, and responsive. When the body becomes warm, The cardiovascular system widens the small arteries near the skin's surface to release heat, allowing temperature to stay within a safe and comfortable range. When the body becomes cool, those same vessels narrow to preserve warmth. This responsiveness reflects a deep collaboration between organ systems. The heart adjusts its rhythm, the vessels adjust their diameter, and together they shape the internal environment so gently that the changes often go unnoticed. These adjustments also help maintain proper levels of water, nutrients, and oxygen throughout the tissues, ensuring that the body remains stable and balanced no matter what conditions arise. As arteries branch into arterioles, the vessels become even narrower, their walls thinner, and their responsiveness greater. Arterioles play an important role in regulating blood pressure and directing blood flow to areas of the body where it is needed most. During physical activity, for example, arterioles widen to deliver more blood to the working muscles. During times of rest, they may narrow slightly, encouraging a calmer distribution of blood. These changes occur through signals from the nervous system as well as chemical cues within the tissues, demonstrating again how deeply interconnected the body's systems are. The cardiovascular, nervous, and endocrine systems work together constantly, adjusting vessel diameter, heart rate, and pressure in an intricate dance that unfolds with gentle precision. Eventually, the arterioles lead into the smallest and most delicate vessels of all. These vessels are the true sites of exchange within the body, where oxygen, nutrients, water, and other essential substances move between blood and tissue. Capillaries are so narrow that red blood cells must often pass through them in single file, bending softly to navigate the tiny spaces. Their walls are incredibly thin, just a single layer of endothelial cells allowing gases and nutrients to diffuse easily across them. This diffusion is guided not by force but by natural gradients, the same quiet principles that guide oxygen into the blood in the lungs and carbon dioxide out of it. Each capillary acts like a small, gentle bridge between the internal flow of the bloodstream and the quiet needs of the surrounding tissues. Within the capillaries, oxygen leaves the blood and enters the cells, while carbon dioxide and other metabolic byproducts are taken up by the blood. This exchange supports countless processes, from movement and thought to repair and renewal. Even in moments of rest, the capillaries maintain their quiet work, responding gently to the needs of the tissues. When certain areas require more oxygen, the surrounding arterioles widen to send more blood into the capillaries. When tissues need less, the vessels relax, allowing flow to soften. These micro-adjustments support the larger harmony of the body, letting every cell receive exactly what it needs in the moment. After the exchange is complete, the blood begins its return journey through the venules, the small vessels that collect blood from the capillaries. Venules gradually merge to form veins, which guide the blood back toward the heart. Veins differ from arteries in both structure and temperament. Where arteries are thick-walled and resilient, veins are softer and more flexible, designed to carry blood at lower pressure. Their walls contain less muscle and elasticity, relying instead on the gentle movement of surrounding muscles to help push the blood forward. Many veins also contain valves, thin, delicate structures similar to those found in the heart that prevent blood from flowing backward. These valves open and close in response to the subtle shifts in pressure created by movement and breathing, ensuring that blood travels steadily toward the right atrium. The cooperation between veins and the rest of the cardiovascular system reflects the same quiet order seen throughout the body. When the heart beats more quickly, veins respond by carrying blood back to the heart at a faster rate. When physical activity increases, the rhythmic contractions of the muscles help push more blood through the venous system. Even the act of breathing influences venous return. As the diaphragm moves downward during inhalation, pressure in the chest cavity decreases, gently drawing blood into the heart. With each exhalation, the pressure shifts again, encouraging the movement of blood along its path. This cycle unfolds quietly, guided by the soft interplay of muscles, vessels, and the heart's steady rhythm. As the veins carry the blood toward the heart, they join together into larger and larger vessels, eventually forming the superior and inferior vena cava. These two great veins deliver the returning blood into the right atrium, where the journey begins again. Though the blood arrives low in oxygen, it carries the traces of all the processes it has supported, the quiet work of the muscles, the thoughts of the nervous system, the communications of the endocrine system, the adjustments of the urinary and digestive systems. Its journey is part of the broader cycle of homeostasis, the delicate balance the body maintains through the constant exchange of energy, heat, and materials. As you imagine this entire network arteries carrying blood outward with steady strength, veins guiding the blood calmly back, you may sense the peaceful order that defines the cardiovascular system. It is not a system of rushing or forcing, but one of quiet guidance. It adapts, listens, and adjusts in response to the body's needs. It ensures that every cell receives nourishment, that heat is regulated, that waste is removed, and that balance is preserved. In the next part of our lecture, we will turn our attention to the rhythms that guide all of this, the electrical impulses that allow the heart to beat on its own, creating the patterns that shape the flow throughout this vast, gentle network. 11. How the heart creates its own rhythm. Deep within the quiet chambers of the heart, beneath the soft movement of blood and the subtle work of valves and vessels, lies a delicate framework of electrical activity that gives rise to every beat. This rhythm is not imposed from the outside. It begins within the heart itself, arising from a collection of specialized cells that act like a natural pacemaker. Their activity is gentle, continuous, and self-sustaining, allowing the heart to maintain its steady cycle of contraction and relaxation without conscious effort. This internal rhythm guides the entire cardiovascular system, shaping the flow that travels through every artery, every capillary, and every vein. In this part of our lecture, we travel inward to understand how this rhythm is created, how the heart generates its own steady beat, and how this soft electrical pattern adjusts to the changing needs of the body. The heart's rhythm begins in a small cluster of cells located in the right atrium, known as the sinoatrial node, often referred to as the SA node. These cells are unique in that they possess automaticity, the ability to initiate electrical impulses without outside signals. They do this with a quiet regularity, like a lantern casting light in a steady pulse. The SA node sets the pace for the entire heart, sending electrical waves outward across the atrial walls. These waves cause the atria to contract gently, moving blood into the ventricles below. This is the first movement in each heartbeat, a movement that happens so smoothly and consistently that we rarely notice it. The SA node's activity does not depend on conscious thought. It continues throughout life, adjusting its pace through natural interactions with the nervous and endocrine systems. The impulses generated by the SA node travel through the atria in a coordinated pattern, following pathways that guide them toward another cluster of cells known as the atrioventricular node, or AV node. This structure sits at the junction between the atria and the ventricles, serving as a transition point between the upper and lower chambers. The AV node has an important role, one based on timing rather than force. It introduces a slight delay in the electrical signal, allowing the ventricles enough time to fill completely with blood before they contract. Without this gentle pause, the rhythm of the heart would become disorganized, and the flow of blood would lose the smooth coordination that ensures efficiency and calm. The AV node's delay is a perfect example of the body's quiet intelligence, where even a fraction of a second is used to maintain harmony. From the AV node, the electrical impulse travels downward through a structure called the bundle of His. This pathway divides into the right and left bundle branches, which weave through the muscular walls of the ventricles. These branches guide the impulse into an intricate network of fibers known as the Purkinje system. The Purkinje fibers spread through the ventricular walls, allowing the impulse to move quickly and evenly through the heart's most powerful chambers. When the ventricles receive this signal, Their thick muscular walls contract in a coordinated, spiraling motion that sends blood outward to the lungs through the pulmonary artery and to the body through the aorta. This contraction is strong but not harsh, controlled but not rigid, reflecting the balance between strength and softness that defines the heart's overall design. The entire electrical system of the heart functions with a natural rhythm that can change subtly in response to the body's needs. When the body is calm, the parasympathetic branch of the nervous system gently slows the SA node's pace, allowing the heart to beat more slowly. When the body requires more oxygen, perhaps during exertion, emotional intensity, or environmental changes, the sympathetic nervous system increases the heart rate, prompting the SA node to fire more quickly. These adjustments happen without disruption, reflecting the body's ability to maintain homeostasis while responding to internal and external signals. The heart does not need to be instructed consciously. It listens quietly to the cues provided by hormones, nerves, and local tissues. The endocrine system also plays a role in shaping the heart's rhythm. Hormones, such as adrenaline, can speed the heart's rate, preparing the body for increased activity. Thyroid hormones influence the baseline rhythm, helping regulate how quickly or slowly the heart beats at rest. These hormonal influences blend seamlessly with the nervous system's signals, creating a flexible and adaptive rhythm that can shift moment to moment. This cooperation mirrors the same collaborative qualities seen throughout the body systems that share information, respond gently to change, and maintain balance despite constant flux. The cardiovascular, nervous, and endocrine systems form a triad that keeps the heart's rhythm steady, appropriate, and aligned with the body's current state. The heart's electrical rhythm also affects how blood moves through its chambers. When the atria receive the electrical impulse, their contraction guides blood downward with calm precision. When the ventricles receive the impulse, their contraction pushes blood forward with steady strength. These two actions must be synchronized perfectly, and the electrical system ensures that they are. Even subtle disruptions in timing can affect the flow. This careful coordination reflects the same attention to detail seen in other homeostatic processes, such as how the cardiovascular and urinary systems regulate fluid balance, or how the cardiovascular and respiratory systems regulate oxygen and carbon dioxide levels. As the heart continues its rhythm, beat after beat, it communicates quietly with the rest of the body. Temperature changes, for example, can influence heart rate. When the body becomes warm, blood vessels near the skin widen to release heat, and the heart may beat slightly faster to support this increased flow. When the body cools, the vessels narrow, conserving heat, and the heart adjusts its rhythm to maintain comfort and stability. These adjustments show how deeply the heart's electrical system is integrated into the body's overall regulation. The creation of the heart's rhythm is a gentle process, one that occurs without sound or sensation, yet shapes every moment of life. The SA node initiates the beat, the AV node ensures proper timing, the bundle branches deliver the signal, and the Purkinje fibers guide the final wave of contraction. Together, they create a pattern that is both simple and profound, an endless cycle of quiet impulses that maintain the steady pulse we recognize as a heartbeat. As you reflect on the heart's electrical rhythm, imagine it as a soft and steady light pulsing deep within the chest, guiding each movement of blood with quiet assurance. This inner rhythm does not demand attention. It supports life gently, moment by moment, adapting as the body changes, resting when it can, responding when it must. In the next part of our lecture, we will step away from the heart's electrical activity and turn our attention to the blood itself, this quiet river that carries oxygen, nutrients, and countless small signals throughout the body. 12. The blood itself, a quiet river of life. Within the gentle motion of every heartbeat flows a substance so familiar that it often goes unnoticed, yet so essential that life cannot continue without it. Blood moves through the vessels as quietly as a river passing through a wide valley, delivering oxygen, carrying nutrients, removing waste, and transporting countless signals that help maintain balance throughout the body. It is not simply a fluid, but a living, dynamic medium, a calm messenger that supports every cell from the surface of the skin to the deepest tissues. In this part of our lecture, we drift into the soft, steady presence of blood itself, exploring its components, its purpose, and its quiet role in sustaining the body's delicate equilibrium. Imagine blood not just as a red liquid, but as a flowing community of elements, each one designed with a specific function. Suspended within plasma, the pale, fluid portion of blood, are red blood cells, white blood cells, platelets, hormones, nutrients, dissolved gases, and countless small molecules that weave through the bloodstream with gentle purpose. Plasma itself is mostly water, shaped by the ongoing cooperation of the cardiovascular and urinary systems as they regulate the body's fluid levels to maintain homeostasis. When water levels rise, the body adjusts by altering vessel diameter and the kidney's filtration. When water levels fall, the systems respond again, guiding the body back toward quiet balance. Blood is therefore not just a transporter. It is a reflection of the body's internal conditions at any given moment. Red blood cells form the majority of the solid components in blood. These cells, shaped like soft discs with gentle depressions on each side, carry oxygen from the lungs to the tissues and return with carbon dioxide to be released through exhalation. Their structure increases the surface area available for exchange, allowing them to load and unload gases with quiet efficiency. Inside each red blood cell lies hemoglobin, a protein specially designed to bind oxygen in environments where it is plentiful like the lungs and release it in areas where it is needed like the tissues. This exchange is not forced. It follows natural gradients of pressure and concentration, the same gentle principles that guide the movement of heat, nutrients, and water throughout the body. In moments of increased need, such as physical exertion or exposure to warmth, the cardiovascular and respiratory systems adjust together, increasing the flow of oxygen to match the body's demands. White blood cells move through the bloodstream with a different purpose. As part of the immune system, they help protect the body from harmful invaders. Their movements are slow, deliberate, and sensitive, responding to subtle chemical signals released by tissues in need of support. While red blood cells carry oxygen, white blood cells carry awareness. Though they make up only a small percentage of the blood's components, they play an essential role in maintaining the body's stability, helping it respond quietly to disturbances without disrupting the heart's rhythm or the calm flow of the vessels. Platelets, tiny fragments of cells, circulate alongside red and white blood cells. Their purpose is to assist with clotting to help the blood maintain integrity when vessels are damaged. Their work is gentle and precise, responding only when needed, guided by signals that arise locally within the tissues. They do not act alone. Instead, they work in coordination with plasma proteins to form soft, temporary seals that protect the body while allowing healing to begin. Like the heart valves, which open and close with subtlety, plasma, the fluid that carries all these components, is a remarkable substance in its own right. It contains dissolved nutrients absorbed from the digestive system, glucose for energy, amino acids for repair, lipids for warmth and steady metabolism. It carries hormones produced by the endocrine system, allowing signals to travel from one part of the body to another with gentle efficiency. These hormones influence heart rate, vessel diameter, cellular activity, and countless other functions. Plasma also transports waste products, such as urea, to the kidneys, where the urinary system works hand in hand with the cardiovascular system to maintain water balance and remove what the body no longer needs. Temperature regulation also depends in large part on plasma, which absorbs heat produced by the tissues and carries it to the skin, where widened blood vessels allow it to be released into the environment. The movement of blood through the vessels is guided by the heart's rhythm but shaped by the needs of the tissues. When muscles work, They release signals that cause arterioles in their area to widen, increasing the flow of oxygen-rich blood. When tissues require less support, those vessels relax, allowing the blood to move onward in a calm, steady stream. These adjustments occur continuously, guided by both local factors and the larger coordination of the cardiovascular, nervous, and endocrine systems. Through these interactions, blood becomes not just a carrier but a communicator, responding silently to the needs expressed by every part of the body. As blood circulates, it participates in the broader regulation of homeostasis. It transports heat, helping maintain the body's temperature at a stable level despite changes in the environment. It carries water and electrolytes, supporting the balance between the fluid inside and outside of cells. It delivers nutrients and removes waste, allowing each cell to focus on its purpose without being overwhelmed by byproducts. It distributes hormones, enabling distant organs to communicate with one another. Through all these roles, blood supports the continuity and comfort of the internal environment, preserving the quiet conditions that allow tissues to function smoothly. The peaceful movement of blood is guided not only by the heart's contractions but also by the structure of the vessels themselves. Arteries with elastic walls help smooth the pulse, turning the heart's strong beat into a gentle wave. Capillaries with porous, delicate walls facilitate the quiet exchange of gases and nutrients. Veins, with their soft walls and valves, guide the blood's return to the heart without strain. Each vessel plays its part, and the blood flows through these pathways like a river shaped by the land through which it moves, responsive, adaptable, and naturally balanced. The blood's rhythm is deeply connected to the breath. With each inhalation, the lungs draw in fresh air, and the oxygen diffuses into the bloodstream. With each exhalation, carbon dioxide is released, making room for the next soft exchange. The heart and lungs work together, adjusting their rhythms through signals that support internal harmony. When breathing slows, the heart often follows. When breathing quickens, the heart responds with a slightly faster pace. This shared rhythm maintains a gentle unity between systems, ensuring that the blood continually reflects the body's needs. As you imagine this quiet river flowing within you, consider how essential it is to the body's balance. Each drop of blood carries a piece of the body's story, its activity, its needs, its responses to the environment. It flows not with urgency but with purpose, guided by gradients, rhythms, and subtle changes that preserve stability and support every cell. In the next part of our lecture, we will explore the forces that guide this river: blood pressure, pulse, and the subtle mechanisms that keep circulation smooth and balanced through every moment of life. 13. Pressure. Within the calm interior of the body, the flow of blood is shaped not only by the steady beat of the heart and the branching networks of vessels, but also by the gentle forces that guide its motion. These forces, blood pressure, pulse, and the subtle gradients that move fluid through the vessels, create the quiet patterns that sustain life moment by moment. They do not disrupt the body's harmony. Instead, they support it. Understanding these forces is like listening to the quiet undercurrent of a river, noticing the soft movements beneath the surface that allow the water to flow so smoothly and continuously. In this part of our lecture, we settle into these subtle dynamics, exploring how the body maintains stable pressure, how the pulse reflects the rhythm of the heart, and how homeostasis shapes every rise and fall within this gentle system. To begin with, blood pressure is the force exerted by blood against the walls of the vessels. It is a natural outcome of the heart's contractions, the elasticity of the arteries, and the volume of blood moving through the system. When the left ventricle contracts, it sends a wave of pressure into the aorta, which expands slightly to receive the blood before guiding it onward. This expansion is followed by a gentle recoil, an elastic return that helps maintain forward movement even when the heart relaxes between beats. In this way, the vessels work in partnership with the heart, transforming the strong, rhythmic pulses of the ventricles into a smooth, continuous flow that feels steady rather than abrupt. This movement gives rise to the familiar sensation we call the pulse. When you feel a pulse at the wrist or the side of the neck, you are sensing the expansion of an artery as the wave of pressure travels through it. This wave is not the blood itself rushing past, but the motion of the vessel responding to the heart's rhythm. Each pulse reflects a single beat, a moment of gentle force that moves through the body like a soft echo. The pulse is therefore a mirror of the heart's activity, a quiet external sign of the internal rhythm that sustains life. Its steadiness, speed, and strength can shift gently depending on the body's needs, influenced by temperature, activity, emotion, and the subtle interplay of the nervous and endocrine systems. Blood pressure, too, changes naturally in response to internal and external conditions. When the body warms, the cardiovascular system widens blood vessels near the skin to release heat, which can gently lower pressure. And the resentin, when the body cools, those vessels narrow, helping conserve warmth and maintain equilibrium. These adjustments occur continuously as part of homeostasis, the same balancing act that regulates water levels, nutrient distribution, and the body's internal chemistry. The cardiovascular and urinary systems collaborate closely in this process. If blood pressure rises, the kidneys can increase the amount of water excreted, reducing blood volume and restoring balance. If pressure falls, the kidneys conserve water, helping the body maintain a comfortable and functional internal state. Arterioles, the small vessels that connect arteries to capillaries, play a central role in regulating pressure. Their muscular walls can constrict or relax, narrowing or widening the vessel in response to signals from the nervous system or chemical cues from the tissues. When the arterioles constrict, resistance increases, causing blood pressure to rise gently. These small movements have profound effects, shaping the flow of blood throughout the body without disturbing the overall sense of calm. The process is similar to adjusting the width of a stream's path, narrowing it to increase the flow's intensity, widening it to create a softer, more expansive movement. Within the capillaries, pressure behaves differently. Here, the force of the blood must be low enough to allow delicate exchanges of oxygen, nutrients, and waste products. The thin walls of capillaries cannot withstand high pressure, and so the body naturally reduces the force of blood as it enters these tiny vessels. This transition is accomplished through the gradual narrowing of arteries and arterioles, which distribute the pressure across many branching pathways. Once inside the capillaries, the blood moves at a slow, steady pace, guided more by gradients than by the force of the heart. These gradients, differences in concentration and pressure, allow substances to drift across the capillary walls, supporting the body's internal balance with quiet precision. The lymphatic system works in the background to support these exchanges. As fluid moves out of the capillaries to bathe the tissues, the lymphatic vessels collect any excess and return it to the bloodstream, preventing swelling and maintaining balance. This gentle cooperation between the cardiovascular and lymphatic systems ensures that the fluid environment around each cell remains stable, allowing tissues to relax into their natural rhythms. As blood completes its journey through the capillaries, pressure continues to fall, creating a soft, low-pressure environment ideal for its return to the heart through the veins. Veins have thinner walls and lower pressure than arteries, and many contain valves that guide the blood forward. These valves respond to the small pressure changes created by breathing and by the contractions of surrounding muscles. With each inhalation, the diaphragm moves downward, decreasing pressure in the chest and helping draw blood toward the heart. With each exhalation, the pressure shifts gently, pushing blood along the next small segment of its path. This subtle movement shows how deeply the respiratory and circulatory systems collaborate, even in the quietest moments. Throughout this entire process, the nervous and endocrine systems monitor and adjust blood pressure and pulse with remarkable sensitivity. The nervous system can signal vessels to constrict or relax, changing resistance and flow. Hormones carried by the bloodstream can influence how strongly the heart contracts and how much water the body retains. These signals ensure that the heart's rhythm and the vessel's movements remain aligned with the body's needs, whether those needs include warmth, rest, activity, or recovery. The cardiovascular system therefore acts as both responder and regulator, supporting other systems while being shaped by them in return. The pulse and pressure we associate with the heartbeat are not rigid forces but gentle patterns that adapt to every shift in the environment. They support the body without overwhelming it, creating a sense of continuity and calm even as the internal environment changes. The smooth expansion of an artery, the quiet recoil of its walls, the subtle widening and narrowing of the arterioles, and the slow drift of blood through the capillaries all contribute to a rhythm that feels steady, supportive, and deeply reassuring. As you picture this quiet interplay of forces, you may begin to sense the peaceful coordination within your own body, the way each system moves in harmony with the rest, the way every heartbeat shapes its own wave of stillness and strength. In the next part of our lecture, we will explore how the cardiovascular system forms a larger network of cooperation with other systems in the body, working together to maintain internal balance and support the serenity of life's ongoing rhythm. 14. The cardiovascular system as a cooperative network. Throughout this quiet journey into the heart and its gentle rhythms, we have explored chambers, valves, vessels, and the subtle forces that move blood through the body. Yet none of these pieces function in isolation. The heart's steady beat, the vessel's smooth guidance, the blood's silent deliveries, all are part of a larger, interconnected network of systems working together to maintain internal balance. The cardiovascular system does not simply circulate blood. It collaborates continuously with other systems to sustain homeostasis, the delicate equilibrium that makes life feel effortless from moment to moment. In this part of the lecture, we drift into the wider landscape of these cooperative relationships, noticing how the heart communicates with the lungs, the kidneys, the nervous system, the endocrine system, and even the skin, each contributing something essential to the body's ongoing harmony. Imagine the cardiovascular system as a vast, branching river network. Though the river carries water across a landscape, its health depends on the terrain around it, the soil, the weather, the plants, the temperature. In much the same way, the heart and blood vessels cannot function alone. They depend on constant partnership with other bodily systems, each one influencing the flow of blood in ways that are gentle, subtle, and deeply coordinated. One of the most essential partnerships is the one between the cardiovascular and respiratory systems. Blood depends on the lungs to supply oxygen and release carbon dioxide, and the lungs depend on the heart to deliver and retrieve these gases in a steady rhythm. When you inhale, air fills the alveoli, creating an environment where oxygen can drift into the blood. When you exhale, carbon dioxide leaves the body, clearing space for oxygen in the next breath. The heart adjusts its rhythm in response, beating more quickly during exertion, slowing softly during rest. These two systems form a natural loop: breath guiding blood, blood supporting breath, an endless exchange that unfolds with such calm cooperation that it rarely draws attention. The cardiovascular system is also closely intertwined with the urinary system. Together, these systems regulate water balance, blood pressure, and the body's internal chemistry. The kidneys filter the blood, removing waste while adjusting the amount of water and dissolved ions returning to the bloodstream. If blood pressure rises, the kidneys may release more water into the urine. If pressure falls, they conserve water, helping maintain a stable internal environment. This quiet collaboration keeps the internal fluid environment consistent, allowing cells to live in conditions that feel steady and supportive. Another delicate partnership involves the cardiovascular and lymphatic systems. The capillaries release fluid into the surrounding tissues with each heartbeat, allowing nutrients and oxygen to reach the cells. The lymphatic system collects any excess fluid and returns it to the bloodstream, preventing swelling and keeping the tissue's environment soft and balanced. This relationship is gentle and continuous: blood delivering nourishment, lymph preventing accumulation. The two systems work together to maintain the subtle equilibrium that surrounds every cell, ensuring that the tissues remain supple and well hydrated without receiving too much or too little fluid. The skin, too, plays an important role in this network. It serves as a boundary between the body and the environment, and the cardiovascular system helps regulate its temperature through the widening or narrowing of blood vessels. When the body becomes warm, vessels near the skin expand, allowing more blood to flow through them and releasing heat into the air. When the body grows cool, these vessels contract, conserving warmth by directing blood toward the core. This cooperation between the cardiovascular and integumentary systems helps maintain thermal balance, preserving comfort and supporting all internal processes regardless of external conditions. The digestive system also relies on the cardiovascular network. After food is broken down in the stomach and intestines, nutrients are absorbed into the bloodstream, which carries them to the tissues that need them most. Glucose provides immediate energy. Amino acids support, repair, and growth, and lipids offer longer-term reserves. Once these nutrients enter the bloodstream, the cardiovascular system distributes them quietly and steadily, allowing every cell to receive the nourishment required for its own gentle work. Meanwhile, waste products generated in the digestive process are removed through the blood and carried to the kidneys for elimination. This exchange highlights a peaceful partnership, digestion providing nutrients, circulation delivering them, and the urinary system removing what remains. The nervous system also influences the cardiovascular system in subtle but powerful ways. Through its sympathetic and parasympathetic branches, it adjusts heart rate, vessel diameter, and blood pressure. If the body needs to respond quickly or with heightened energy, the sympathetic system increases heart rate and strengthens contractions, preparing the body for action. When the body needs rest, the parasympathetic system slows the heart and relaxes the vessels, inviting calm. These shifts occur seamlessly, often in response to internal cues such as emotion, temperature, or changes in posture. They demonstrate how deeply connected the heart is to the body's overall awareness, responding even to the smallest of signals. The endocrine system, with its network of hormones, works alongside the nervous system to shape the heart's behavior. Hormones such as adrenaline can stimulate the heart to beat more quickly, offering support during heightened physical or emotional states. Other hormones influence metabolism, fluid balance, and vessel tone, all of which affect how blood moves through the body. Because hormones travel through the bloodstream, the cardiovascular system serves not only as a partner, but also as a carrier, delivering these quiet chemical messages to tissues that respond in their own time. The result is a deeply integrated system of communication and adjustment, one that keeps the body aligned with its internal needs and external environment. Ultimately, the cardiovascular system's cooperative network reflects the body's broader philosophy. No structure, no organ, no system works alone. Each is supported by another. Each responds to the signals communicated quietly through blood, breath, pressure, chemistry, and movement. The heart may be the central pump, but it is also a listener, responding to cues from the kidneys, the lungs, the nervous system, and the tissues themselves. Its rhythm adapts to the world within the body, maintaining steady flow even as conditions shift from moment to moment. As you imagine this interconnected network, you may sense the calm reassurance that comes from knowing your body is always tending to itself, adjusting, aligning, balancing. The cardiovascular system is at the center of this harmony, a quiet partner in every action, every breath, every moment of rest. In the next part of our lecture, we will explore how the heart supports homeostasis more directly, ensuring that temperature, chemicals, and fluids remain in the calm balance the body depends on. 15. How the heart supports homeostasis. Within the steady rhythm of every heartbeat lies a deeper purpose, one that extends far beyond the movement of blood itself. The heart is not only a pump, but a quiet regulator, helping maintain the delicate internal balance that allows the body to function smoothly. This balance, known as homeostasis, is the foundation of life. It keeps the body's temperature within a safe range, stabilizes fluid levels, shapes chemical composition, and preserves the environment that every cell depends on. While many systems contribute to this harmony, the lungs, the kidneys, the skin, the endocrine glands, the heart plays a central role, guiding and responding to these systems with a gentle, constant awareness. In this part of our lecture, we drift into the soft coordination that links the heart to homeostasis, noticing how its quiet beats echo through every aspect of the body's internal stability. To begin, imagine the heart as the central figure in a vast and delicate ecosystem. Every beat sends blood outward toward the tissues, carrying oxygen, nutrients, and warmth. When the heart pumps more strongly or more quickly, blood moves through the body with greater speed, supporting tissues that require extra energy. When the heart slows, it conserves effort, allowing the body to rest and recover. These changes in rhythm occur naturally, guided by subtle signals from the nervous and endocrine systems. The heart listens to these signals constantly, making small adjustments that help the body maintain its calm internal environment. When temperature rises or falls, when water levels shift, when the chemical landscape changes ever so slightly, the heart responds, sustaining a steady flow that supports the body's attempt to return to equilibrium. One of the most visible ways the heart contributes to homeostasis is through temperature regulation. As the body warms, whether from physical activity, emotional intensity, or a warm environment, the cardiovascular system widens blood vessels near the skin. This expansion brings warm blood closer to the surface, where heat can dissipate gently into the surrounding air. As a result, the body cools itself without abrupt changes. When the environment becomes cooler, or when the body needs to conserve warmth, these vessels narrow again. These actions happen continuously, supported by the heart's steady flow. Without this flow, the body would struggle to maintain a stable temperature. Each beat of the heart, therefore, becomes part of a larger conversation between the cardiovascular system and the skin, a quiet exchange designed to preserve comfort and stability. Water balance also relies heavily on the heart's work. The cardiovascular and urinary systems collaborate closely, monitoring blood volume and pressure with a sensitivity that ensures the body never strays far from balance. If the body takes in more water than it needs, the kidneys adjust by filtering out the excess, releasing it as urine. If water levels drop during exercise, heat exposure, or simple dehydration, the kidneys conserve water, returning more fluid to the bloodstream. The heart responds by adjusting its force and rhythm. These adjustments keep the internal environment stable, allowing cells to remain in the gentle balance of fluid they depend on. Because blood acts as the body's primary transport medium, its volume and composition must remain within a narrow, peaceful range, a task that the heart supports with every soft contraction. Chemical balance is another dimension of homeostasis, and again the heart plays a central role. Blood carries nutrients, ions, hormones, and gases, each one essential for cellular function. As these substances shift, the heart's rhythm and pressure adjust to accommodate the body's needs. If tissues require more oxygen, the heart beats faster to deliver it. If carbon dioxide levels rise, the heart partners with the respiratory system to increase circulation through the lungs. If hormones travel through the bloodstream to signal changes in metabolism or stress, the heart responds with subtle variations in rate and force. These adjustments demonstrate how deeply connected the cardiovascular system is to the body's chemical landscape, responding with quiet precision to even the smallest internal shifts. The cardiovascular system also maintains homeostasis by balancing the forces that move fluid into and out of the tissues. As blood flows through the capillaries, small amounts of fluid leave the vessels to nourish the cells. The lymphatic system then gathers any excess fluid and returns it to the bloodstream, ensuring that tissues do not become overly swollen or dehydrated. Without the heart's continuous flow, this balance would collapse. Capillaries would not receive the steady pressure they need, and the lymphatic system would not be able to return fluid efficiently. Instead, the rhythmic motion of the heart keeps this cycle moving, ensuring that each cell receives a gentle supply of nutrients while remaining in its comfortable water environment. In moments of rest, the heart's contributions to homeostasis become even more pronounced. When the body is quiet, free from physical exertion or emotional tension, the parasympathetic nervous system slows the heart's rhythm. Blood flows calmly through the vessels, supporting the body's processes of repair and restoration. Tissues receive the oxygen they need to heal. Hormones circulate to support rest and digestion, and the kidneys regulate water and waste with peaceful efficiency. This slow, restful rhythm allows the body to restore equilibrium after moments of activity or stress. The heart becomes a quiet caretaker, offering the gentle energy needed to support the body's natural return to balance. In contrast, when the body faces challenges, the heart becomes more active. If blood pressure begins to fall, the nervous system signals the heart to beat more quickly or more forcefully, helping maintain a stable flow. If tissues experience sudden changes in temperature, water content, or oxygen demand, the heart adjusts its rhythm, helping the body respond with resilience. These responses are not abrupt or chaotic. They are gentle shifts that preserve the body's stability, guided by a network of sensors and signals that maintain homeostasis moment by moment. The heart also supports homeostasis by working closely with the endocrine system. Hormones produced by glands throughout the body, such as adrenaline, thyroid hormones, and aldosterone, travel through the bloodstream, influencing the heart's rhythm, the vessel's diameter, and the kidney's handling of water and salt. The heart, in turn, helps distribute these hormones quickly and evenly, ensuring that the body receives timely cues for adjustment. This partnership allows the body to adapt to changing conditions with quiet sophistication. As you reflect on the heart's role in homeostasis, imagine the subtle layers of support that unfold with each beat. The heart maintains temperature, supports chemical balance, regulates water, guides nutrients, and coordinates with countless systems to preserve an internal environment that remains calm and steady. It responds to signals from the lungs, the kidneys, the skin, the nervous system, and the endocrine glands, all without drawing attention to itself. Its rhythm is the background music of the body's ongoing equilibrium, a steady assurance that every moment brings the opportunity for balance. In the next part of our lecture, we will explore how the heart changes across the lifespan, adapting its quiet rhythm from infancy through adulthood and into the later years, sustaining the gentle continuity of life through all its stages. 16. The heart across the human lifespan. From the earliest weeks of life to the quiet years of old age, the heart remains a faithful companion, adjusting its rhythm and strength to meet the needs of the growing, maturing, and aging body. Its work is continuous, yet its nature changes gently over time, reflecting the shifting biological landscapes of infancy, childhood, adulthood, and later life. At every stage, the heart collaborates with the body's systems, maintaining balance, supporting homeostasis, and responding with quiet sensitivity to internal and external conditions. In this part of the lecture, we drift slowly across the timeline of the human lifespan, watching how the heart evolves, matures, adapts, and eventually softens, always remaining true to its essential purpose. To imagine the heart's earliest beginnings, picture a developing embryo only a few weeks old, before the brain has formed its complex structures. Before limbs have taken shape, the heart begins its first gentle movements. At this stage, It is not a four-chambered organ, but a simple tube that folds, loops, and gradually partitions into the familiar structure we recognize. These early beats are soft and steady, guided entirely by the cell's innate ability to generate rhythm. Even in these early moments, the heart is already supporting the flow of blood through a tiny and rapidly changing body, sending nutrients to developing tissues and removing what the cells no longer need. Its rhythm is faster than at any other point in life, a rapid fluttering that reflects the pace of growth. As the fetus develops, the heart becomes more complex. The cardiovascular system begins to work in close partnership with the developing lungs, kidneys, and nervous system, even though these systems are not yet fully functional. Blood follows a special circulatory pattern in the womb, bypassing the lungs because oxygen is received from the mother's bloodstream rather than through breathing. This unique arrangement reflects the early cooperation between systems already preparing for the changes that will come at birth. When the baby finally takes its first breath, the lungs expand, valves close, pathways redirect, and within moments, in infancy and early childhood, the heart continues to beat more quickly than in adulthood, reflecting the body's high metabolic needs. The cardiovascular system supports rapid growth, thriving tissues, and the constant activity of early life. During this period, the heart works in close partnership with the endocrine system, which releases hormones that guide growth and development. The cardiovascular and urinary systems help maintain water balance, adjusting fluid distribution as the infant's body changes. Temperature regulation also plays a significant role in this stage of life. The skin and cardiovascular system work together, widening and narrowing vessels as needed to preserve warmth or release heat. Through all of these adjustments, the heart remains resilient, its young tissues flexible and responsive. As a child grows into adolescence, the heart adapts once again. Hormonal changes influence heart rate, vessel tone, and blood composition. The growth of muscles and bones requires increased circulation, and the cardiovascular system rises to meet these demands with quiet ease. The heart grows slightly larger, its rhythm becomes more stable, and the balance between its chambers becomes even more efficient. The nervous system plays a significant role during this time, sending signals that coordinate vessel diameter and heart rate in response to changing emotional and physical states. The cooperation between systems becomes more refined, supporting the body's transition into maturity. In adulthood, the heart reaches a stable period of steady function. Its chambers are fully developed, its rhythm regular and reliable. Blood pressure tends to be consistent, gently regulated by the ongoing partnership between the cardiovascular, nervous, endocrine, urinary, and respiratory systems. Each system contributes something essential. The lungs maintain the exchange of gases. The kidneys balance water and electrolytes. The skin regulates heat. The endocrine system releases hormones that influence metabolism and vessel tone. The digestive system provides nutrients, and the nervous system maintains moment-to-moment adjustments to heart rate and pressure. This is a time when homeostasis is finely tuned, when the body's internal environment remains calm and balanced through constant but subtle corrections. Even during adulthood, the heart remains sensitive to change. Physical activity strengthens the myocardium, improving the efficiency of each beat. Emotional experiences influence the heart rate through the autonomic nervous system, creating subtle shifts in rhythm that mirror the body's inner landscape. Changes in temperature prompt vessels near the skin to widen or narrow, guiding heat release or retention. The heart responds in harmony with these shifts, maintaining smooth flow throughout. As the body transitions into later adulthood and the older years, the heart adapts once more. The tissues may become slightly stiffer, and the heart may take a bit longer to adjust to sudden changes in posture or activity. This is natural. It reflects the gradual softening of systems that have served the body faithfully for many decades. The cardiovascular system continues to collaborate with the urinary and endocrine systems to maintain stable water balance and blood pressure, even as the efficiency of some processes gently declines. Temperature regulation may become slightly less robust, with vessels responding more slowly to changes in warmth or cold. The heart's rhythm, while still steady, may grow a little more variable, reflecting the nervous system's gradual shift toward calmer patterns. And yet, despite these gentle changes, the heart remains deeply reliable. The chambers continue to fill, the valves continue to guide flow. The heart persists in its lifelong rhythm, adjusting its pace and strength in response to the body's needs, just as it always has. Even in older age, the heart remains a central participant in homeostasis, guiding temperature, water, and chemical balance with a kind of seasoned wisdom. Its work is calmer, slower, but also deeply enduring. Across the entire lifespan, the heart is shaped by its relationships with the lungs, the kidneys, the skin, the nervous system, and the endocrine glands. These relationships ensure that the heart does not work alone. It supports and is supported by every system in the body, creating a harmony that allows life to unfold with quiet continuity. From the first fluttering beat in the womb to the gentle rhythms of advanced age, the heart remains a constant presence, adapting and adjusting with a resilience that defines the human body itself. In the next part of our lecture, we will explore the intimate connection between the heart and the nervous system, discovering how this partnership influences rhythm, pressure, and the quiet emotional landscape that settles within us. 17. The heart and the nervous system. Deep within the body's quiet interior, the heart and the nervous system share an ongoing dialogue, one so subtle and continuous that it shapes nearly every moment of life without ever rising to the surface of awareness. The heart creates its own rhythm, but it does not beat in isolation. Instead, it listens closely to the gentle signals drifting through the nervous system, responding with shifts in pace, pressure, and flow that help maintain balance throughout the body. This partnership is calm, fluid, and deeply intertwined, reflecting the body's larger commitment to homeostasis, a state of internal harmony maintained, in part, by the soft communication between nerves and the heart. In this part of our lecture, we settle into this connection, observing how the nervous system gently guides the heart's rhythms, and how the heart in turn influences the landscape of sensation, emotion, and internal balance. To begin, imagine the nervous system as a network of quiet messengers, sending information throughout the body with both immediacy and care. Two branches of this system, known as the sympathetic and parasympathetic divisions, work in complementary ways to influence the heart's rhythm. The sympathetic branch prepares the body for activity. When the body needs more energy, more oxygen, or more blood flow to the muscles, this branch signals the heart to beat faster and with greater force. The parasympathetic branch, by contrast, encourages rest and restoration. When the body is calm, relaxed, or preparing for sleep, this division signals the heart to slow gently, conserving energy and promoting recovery. These signals are not abrupt commands. They are quiet adjustments, subtle hints that the heart interprets moment by moment. This balance between the two branches of the nervous system mirrors the balance found throughout the body. Just as the cardiovascular and urinary systems work together to regulate water balance, and just as the cardiovascular and respiratory systems collaborate to maintain oxygen and carbon dioxide levels, the nervous system and the heart coordinate to maintain a steady internal rhythm. These systems respond to changes in the environment, shifts in temperature, emotional states, the body's activity level, and translate those changes into gentle adjustments of heart rate and vessel tone. When temperatures rise, for example, blood vessels near the skin widen to release heat, and the heart responds by altering its rhythm to support this process. When temperatures fall, the opposite occurs. Vessels narrow, warmth is conserved, and the heart adjusts once more. In this way, the nervous and cardiovascular systems maintain a fluid balance, adapting together to preserve comfort and stability. Signals from the nervous system reach the heart through specialized pathways. The vagus nerve, a central component of the parasympathetic system, extends from the brainstem to the heart, offering calming influence. When activated, it encourages the heart to beat more slowly, supporting digestion, rest, and deep relaxation. Conversely, the sympathetic nerves release chemical signals near the heart that increase the speed and strength of its contractions, ensuring that the body receives the oxygen and nutrients it needs during moments of heightened demand. These shifts do not disturb the heart's natural rhythm. Instead, they guide it gently toward a pace that helps the body meet changing needs. The heart, however, does not simply receive signals, it also sends them. Through receptors in its walls, it monitors pressure, volume, and flow, sharing this information with the nervous system. These receptors, known as baroreceptors, help regulate blood pressure by communicating with the brain about how forcefully blood is being pushed through the vessels. If pressure rises, the nervous system gently slows the heart. If pressure falls, the heart receives signals to beat more quickly. This feedback loop reflects the deep reciprocity between the heart and the nervous system, each listening carefully to the other. This constant communication also supports the regulation of fluid balance. When blood pressure shifts due to changes in hydration, movement, or body position, the nervous system coordinates with the cardiovascular and urinary systems to restore equilibrium. If fluid levels fall, the nervous system signals the kidneys to conserve water, returning more to the bloodstream. If fluid levels rise, it signals the kidneys to release excess water, preventing the body from drifting too far from balance. All the while, the heart maintains smooth flow through its chambers and vessels, ensuring that every system receives what it needs to function quietly and efficiently. The connection between the heart and the nervous system also shapes emotional experience. When a person feels calm, the parasympathetic system's influence slows the heart and softens vessel tone, creating a sense of ease within the body. When a person feels excitement or anticipation, the sympathetic system may quicken the heart slightly, allowing the body to prepare for movement or interaction. These shifts are mild, natural responses that show how deeply intertwined the heart is with the landscape of the mind. The heart does not create emotion, but it mirrors emotional states with gentle shifts in rhythm, allowing the body to express internal experience through subtle changes in pulse and flow. This connection extends even to simple acts, such as breathing. With each inhalation, pressure in the chest decreases, drawing blood more easily toward the heart. With each exhalation, the pressure shifts again, gently modifying the flow of blood returning to the right atrium. The nervous system monitors these patterns and responds in real time, adjusting heart rate to match breathing. This phenomenon, known as respiratory sinus arrhythmia, is a natural rhythm seen most clearly during deep, relaxed breathing, when the heart and breath fall into a shared pattern. It reflects the body's preference for harmony, aligning systems whenever possible to maintain balance and ease. As the heart responds to the nervous system, it also influences other systems in return. When the heart increases its rate, it delivers oxygen-rich blood more quickly to the tissues, supporting the work of the muscular, digestive, urinary, and endocrine systems. When it slows, it encourages rest and recovery. This gently shifting rhythm supports countless internal processes: nutrient absorption, hormone distribution, waste removal, all of which rely on steady flow. Through these interactions, the heart becomes not just a recipient of neural signals, but a central participant in the body's broader efforts to maintain homeostasis, responding to the nervous system while simultaneously shaping the internal environment. In moments of quiet rest, when the parasympathetic system guides the body toward calm, the heart settles into a slower rhythm. Blood flows gently, supporting the processes of healing and restoration. Temperature remains stable as the cardiovascular system cooperates with the skin. Fluid balance is maintained as the cardiovascular and urinary systems work together. Chemical composition stays within a comfortable range, supported by the continuous circulation of nutrients and the removal of waste. In moments of activity, the nervous system shifts, and the heart responds with slightly quicker, stronger beats, guiding circulation with the same steady reliability. Through all these fluctuations, the heart demonstrates the adaptability that allows life to unfold seamlessly. As you imagine this partnership between the heart and the nervous system, picture a quiet conversation signals flowing from brain to heart and from heart back to brain. These signals maintain rhythm, adjust flow, guide pressure, and support the body's delicate equilibrium. Together, the heart and the nervous system ensure that every moment, whether still or active, is supported by a foundation of balance. In the next part of our lecture, we will move into the relationship between the heart and the endocrine system, discovering how hormones gently shape vessel tone, heart rhythm, fluid balance, and the deeper rhythms that carry us through life. 18. The heart and the endocrine system. Throughout the body's quiet interior, the heart does not work alone. Its rhythm, its pressure, and the soft flow of blood through vessels are shaped gently by a constellation of chemical messages that drift through the bloodstream. These messages come from the endocrine system, a network of glands that produce hormones, each carrying instructions that influence the heart's behavior in subtle, continuous ways. The interaction between the cardiovascular and endocrine systems is deep and natural, reflecting the body's larger effort to maintain homeostasis. Hormones shape the vessel's tone, guide the kidney's handling of water, influence the heart's speed and strength, and support the delicate chemical balance that allows the body to rest, to move, and to remain stable. In this part of the lecture, we drift into this quiet relationship, observing how hormones and circulation work together with seamless grace. To begin, imagine hormones as quiet travelers within the bloodstream. They do not rush. Instead, they flow effortlessly with the movement of plasma, reaching their destinations in gentle waves. Because they travel through the blood, the cardiovascular system becomes both a partner and a carrier for the endocrine system. As soon as a hormone enters the bloodstream, it is carried throughout the body, reaching tissues that respond in their own time. Some hormones act quickly, guiding the heart to beat faster during moments of activity. Others act slowly, shaping metabolism, fluid balance, or vessel tone over hours or even days. This continuous delivery shows how deeply the heart depends on the endocrine system, not only for immediate adjustments but for long-term stability. One of the most familiar hormones influencing the heart is adrenaline, released by the adrenal glands. When the body senses a need for greater alertness during emotion, anticipation, or exertion, adrenaline enters the bloodstream. It travels directly to the heart, where it encourages the sinoatrial node to increase its rate of firing. The heart begins to beat a little more quickly, pushing blood through the vessels with slightly more force. This response supports the body's immediate needs, ensuring that oxygen and nutrients are delivered where they are required. Adrenaline's influence is gentle and temporary, fading as soon as the body returns to a quieter state. Its rise and fall reflect the natural cooperation between the endocrine system and the cardiovascular system, each responding calmly to the other. Other hormones influence the heart more subtly. Thyroid hormones, for example, help regulate the body's overall metabolic rate. When these hormones are present in balanced amounts, they support the heart's ability to maintain a steady rhythm. They influence how quickly the heart beats at rest and how efficiently blood is delivered throughout the body. Their presence helps shape the quiet background conditions needed for homeostasis. The cardiovascular system relies on this support, just as other systems rely on the heart's constant flow. The endocrine system also plays a significant role in fluid balance, working closely with the cardiovascular and urinary systems. Hormones such as aldosterone guide the kidneys in determining how much water and sodium should be retained or released. If the body needs to conserve water, aldosterone encourages the kidneys to return more fluid to the bloodstream. If the body has taken in too much water, a different hormone, antidiuretic hormone, helps reduce water loss more slowly. Through these gentle regulatory patterns, The endocrine system shapes the volume of blood moving through the vessels. The heart responds by adjusting its force and rhythm, supporting the stability of blood pressure and fluid levels. This quiet cooperation between systems allows the body to maintain balance even as water intake, activity levels, and temperature shift throughout the day. Hormones also influence the vessels themselves. This relaxation widens the vessels, reducing resistance and allowing blood to flow more easily. Other hormones can encourage slight constriction, increasing resistance just enough to guide blood to essential tissues. These adjustments happen moment by moment, reflecting the needs expressed by the body's internal environment. During heat exposure, vessels widen to release warmth. Throughout this process, the endocrine system and cardiovascular system collaborate with the integumentary system, the skin, to maintain temperature and preserve comfort. The endocrine system also influences how the heart responds to emotional experience. Hormones associated with calm, such as oxytocin or certain peptides, can slow the heart gently, encouraging relaxation and allowing the body to feel at ease. Hormones associated with alertness or energy encourage the heart to prepare for activity. These effects are not disruptive. They simply allow the heart to reflect the internal landscape of the body. The cardiovascular system translates these chemical signals into rhythm and pressure, offering the body a quiet physical expression of its emotional state. This relationship between hormones and heart becomes especially important during moments of transition in the human lifespan. During adolescence, for example, changes in hormone levels shape heart rate, vessel tone, and blood distribution. During adulthood, hormonal balance supports the steady rhythms that dominate daily life. In later years, shifts in hormone levels influence the body's ability to maintain fluid and temperature balance, and the heart adjusts accordingly. These changes demonstrate how the endocrine system guides the heart through each stage, offering the quiet support needed for the body to adapt. The cardiovascular system, in turn, supports the endocrine system by transporting hormones quickly and efficiently. Without circulation, hormones could not reach distant tissues. The digestive system might release nutrients, the endocrine glands might release signals, and the nervous system might produce impulses, but none of these messages would reach their destinations without the heart's steady flow. In this way, the heart becomes a central carrier of communication throughout the body, a transmitter of chemical messages, a guide for fluid balance, a supporter of metabolic harmony. As you imagine this relationship, picture hormones drifting gently through the bloodstream, carried by the soft currents created with every heartbeat. Picture the heart responding calmly to each message, speeding slightly, slowing slightly, guiding flow wherever the body needs it. Through these quiet exchanges, the heart and endocrine system maintain homeostasis, shaping the calm environment that allows life to unfold without disruption. Every hormone, every vessel, every beat plays a part in this harmony. In the next part of our lecture, we will explore how the cardiovascular system works in close partnership with the respiratory system, observing how breath and circulation form a single, unified rhythm that sustains the body with graceful consistency. 19. The heart and the respiratory system. Within the gentle rhythms of the body, few partnerships are as deeply intertwined as the one between the heart and the respiratory system. Their work unfolds in parallel, with each breath guiding the movement of blood and each heartbeat supporting the exchange of gases that sustain life. Together, they create a unified rhythm, soft, continuous, and essential, shaping the body's balance and supporting its quiet internal harmony. While the heart carries blood through the vessels, the lungs provide the oxygen that nourishes the tissues and remove carbon dioxide that accumulates through cellular activity. In this part of the lecture, we drift into the serene connection between breath and circulation, observing how these systems collaborate to maintain homeostasis, support energy, and guide the calm exchange of elements that makes life possible. To begin, imagine the lungs as vast, airy landscapes within the chest. two soft expanses filled with branching pathways that lead eventually to the delicate alveoli. These tiny sacs are the meeting place between air and blood, where oxygen enters the bloodstream and carbon dioxide leaves it. When you inhale, the diaphragm contracts and moves downward, gently expanding the chest cavity. This expansion draws air into the lungs, filling the alveoli with a fresh supply of oxygen. When you exhale, the diaphragm relaxes, and air flows outward again, carrying carbon dioxide with it. This simple rhythm, the rise and fall of breath, forms the foundation for the partnership between respiration and the heart. As air fills the alveoli, blood flows into the surrounding capillaries, carried there by the right side of the heart. The capillary walls are so thin that gases pass through them with ease. Oxygen moves from the air in the alveoli into the blood, guided by natural gradients. Carbon dioxide moves in the opposite direction, leaving the blood and entering the alveoli to be exhaled. These exchanges require no force. They simply follow the patterns set by concentration and pressure. This quiet moment, unnoticed during everyday life, reflects the deep cooperation between the cardiovascular and respiratory systems. Once oxygen has entered the bloodstream, it binds to hemoglobin within red blood cells. The blood now carries a fresh supply of oxygen, ready to deliver it to every tissue throughout the body. This oxygen-rich blood returns to the left side of the heart through the pulmonary veins. The left atrium receives it gently, passing it onward to the left ventricle. With each contraction, the left ventricle sends this renewed blood outward through the aorta, delivering oxygen to the tissues. This dual rhythm, the breath filling the lungs with air, and the heart sending oxygen-rich blood throughout the body, creates an elegant cycle that repeats with every moment of life. The respiratory system also helps regulate the internal environment by shaping the levels of carbon dioxide in the blood. When carbon dioxide levels rise, they alter the blood's chemical balance. The body responds quietly through the respiratory system, increasing the rate and depth of breathing to release more carbon dioxide. This shift helps restore homeostasis by guiding the blood's pH back toward balance. Meanwhile, the heart adjusts its rhythm in tandem, altering the flow of blood to match the changes in breathing. This moment-to-moment cooperation demonstrates how closely the cardiovascular and respiratory systems respond to internal signals, maintaining stability with subtle precision. Temperature regulation also depends on this partnership. When the body becomes warm, the cardiovascular system widens vessels near the skin's surface, allowing heat to be released. At the same time, breathing may become slightly quicker or deeper, supporting the release of heat through exhalation. When the body cools, blood vessels narrow to conserve warmth, and breathing slows softly. This coordination between systems ensures that temperature stays within a safe range, allowing the tissues to function comfortably. Fluid balance is similarly supported by both systems. When the body becomes dehydrated, blood volume decreases. The cardiovascular system responds by adjusting heart rhythm and vessel tone. Meanwhile, the respiratory system may shift its rhythm as well, reflecting changes in the blood's concentration of dissolved substances. The cardiovascular and urinary systems work alongside the lungs, conserving water and maintaining internal stability. These changes are subtle and continuous, demonstrating how the body uses every system to support its silent equilibrium. Even simple movements like breathing influence the flow of blood. With each inhalation, pressure within the chest cavity drops slightly, drawing blood toward the heart. This effect helps the right atrium receive blood from the veins with ease. When you exhale, the pressure shifts again, guiding blood forward through the next stage of its journey. This gentle interplay between breath and circulation is known as respiratory pump action, and it assists the heart in maintaining steady flow without interrupting its rhythm. Through this process, the respiratory system becomes an active participant in the movement of blood, supporting circulation during rest, motion, and quiet sleep. The nervous system helps coordinate this relationship. Sensors within the body monitor levels of oxygen, carbon dioxide, and pH, sending signals to the respiratory centers in the brainstem. These centers adjust breathing in response, ensuring that the lungs draw in the right amount of air. At the same time, sensors in the vessels and heart provide information about pressure, flow, and rhythm. The nervous system integrates all these signals, shaping both breath and heartbeat so they remain aligned. This coordination helps maintain homeostasis, preventing abrupt changes and preserving the body's calm internal environment. Emotion also plays a quiet role in this partnership. During moments of calm, breathing slows and deepens, and the heart's rhythm follows suit, guided by the parasympathetic nervous system. During moments of anticipation or excitement, breathing may quicken slightly, and the heart responds with a gentle increase in pace. These shifts are natural reflections of the body's internal state. They demonstrate how deeply breath and heartbeat are woven into the landscape of human experience. In older age, the relationship between the heart and the respiratory system remains essential. The tissues of the lungs may become slightly less elastic, and the heart may take a little longer to adjust to sudden changes in posture or activity. Yet their partnership continues, supported by the same rhythms and signals that sustained life during earlier years. The lungs still supply oxygen, the heart still distributes it, and together, they maintain the balance required for comfort and stability throughout the later stages of life. As you imagine this relationship, picture the heart and lungs as partners in a gentle dance breath, filling the chest with air, blood flowing quietly to receive it, and every beat aligning with the rise and fall of the diaphragm. This partnership sustains every moment, every movement, every quiet pause. In the next part of our lecture, we will explore how all these systems, cardiovascular, respiratory, nervous, endocrine, integumentary, and urinary work together in harmony, forming an integrated whole that supports the body through all conditions with calm and steady balance. 20. An integrated symphony of the body. As we arrive at this final part of our gentle exploration, we begin to see the cardiovascular system not as an isolated structure, but as a central thread woven through the wide tapestry of the human body. Every beat of the heart echoes through multiple systems: nervous, respiratory, endocrine, integumentary, digestive, urinary, and lymphatic, reflecting a harmony that sustains life moment by moment. The body is not a collection of separate parts functioning independently. It is a unified symphony, each instrument contributing its quiet tone to create balance, stability, and the calm internal environment we call homeostasis. In this closing lecture, we draw together all the relationships we have explored, resting in the soft awareness that the heart participates in every process of the body, supporting and being supported in return. To imagine this integration, picture the heart at the center of a wide circle. Around it lie the systems that shape and maintain life. The lungs share breath, offering oxygen in each gentle exchange. The nervous system listens and responds, guiding rhythm and vessel tone with subtle signals. The endocrine system whispers chemical messages into the bloodstream, shaping pressure, flow, and water balance. The urinary system filters blood carefully, removing what is no longer needed and returning the right amount of water to maintain fluid equilibrium. The lymphatic system gathers excess fluid from the tissues, returning it quietly to the bloodstream. The skin helps regulate heat, and the digestive system offers nutrients, absorbed and carried by the blood to nourish every cell. In this way, the heart stands at the center of an elegant, interconnected web, guiding the calm currents that nourish life. The cardiovascular system maintains homeostasis through constant adjustment. When temperature rises, vessels near the skin widen, so heat can drift outward, carried there by the blood. When temperature falls, those vessels narrow, preserving warmth deep within the body's core. At the same time, the heart shifts its rhythm just slightly to support these changes in flow. The cardiovascular and integumentary systems work together seamlessly, preserving comfort through warm afternoons, cool nights, and quiet moments of rest. This balance arises naturally, requiring no conscious decision, no sudden change. It is simply the body caring for itself in a soft, continuous motion. Fluid balance emerges from another partnership, this time between the cardiovascular and urinary systems. Blood carries water, electrolytes, and dissolved substances throughout the body. When levels rise too high, the kidneys respond by releasing excess fluid. When levels fall too low, they conserve water and return more to the blood. The heart responds by adjusting pressure and rhythm, ensuring that the flow remains smooth even as blood volume changes. Through this gentle interplay, the body maintains the quiet equilibrium that cells depend on. Each system performs its role with precision, but also with sensitivity, listening to signals from the heart and from one another. Chemical balance, too, depends on the heart's steady rhythm. Oxygen and carbon dioxide, nutrients and waste, hormones and ions all flow within the bloodstream. The cardiovascular and respiratory systems cooperate to regulate gases, the digestive system supplies nutrients, and the endocrine system shapes metabolic pace. The heart and lungs work in tandem. The heart sends blood to the lungs supply oxygen, and together they release carbon dioxide. This cycle repeats softly with every breath and every beat, reflecting a profound unity between the systems. Even the nervous system participates, adjusting both breathing and heart rate to reflect the body's internal needs. The lymphatic system, though quieter than the others, also supports this network. As blood delivers nutrients and oxygen to the tissues, small amounts of fluid drift into the spaces between cells. The lymphatic system collects this fluid, carrying it through delicate vessels and filtering it gently before returning it to the bloodstream. Without this partnership, tissues would swell and circulation would slow. But through this quiet collaboration, the cardiovascular and lymphatic systems maintain the soft, stable environment that allows cells to thrive. Consider, too, how the digestive system enters this symphony. Glucose flows into the blood, amino acids slip into circulation, and lipids begin their long journey towards storage or use. The heart carries these nutrients to the tissues that need them most. In this process, the cardiovascular and digestive systems act as partners. One, extracting nourishment, the other, distributing it with calm efficiency. The endocrine system often steps in as well, releasing hormones such as insulin to guide nutrient use and storage. The kidneys filter the blood to maintain the right chemical balance. The heart continues its rhythm, supporting all of these exchanges with gentle consistency. Emotion, though intangible, also plays a quiet role in this integrated network. The nervous and endocrine systems influence heart rate and vessel tone, reflecting the body's inner landscape. In moments of calm, the parasympathetic nervous system guides the heart into a slower, more restful rhythm. In moments of excitement or anticipation, the sympathetic branch encourages the heart to beat slightly faster. These changes are carried through the bloodstream, influencing breath, temperature, and the flow of hormones. This emotional interplay shows how deeply connected the heart is to every aspect of human experience, not only physical, but also internal and perceptual. Even in the later stages of life, this symphony continues. Though some systems may respond more slowly, the cooperation that defines the body remains intact. The lungs still share breath. The kidneys still preserve water balance. The nerves still guide rhythm. The skin still regulates warmth, and the endocrine system still shapes the body's long-term patterns. Through all of these changes, the heart continues its work with familiar steadiness. Slower, perhaps, but deeply reliable. The rhythms may soften, the vessels may respond more gently, but the symphony remains. In the peaceful harmony of these interconnected systems, we see the profound design of the human body, a structure not built on isolation, but on cooperation, not driven by abrupt changes, but by continuous, gentle adjustments. The heart lies at the center of this design, not as a solitary pump, but as a partner in every aspect of life. Its rhythm supports breath. Its flow supports nourishment. Its pressure supports clarity and balance. As we close this lecture, imagine the heart's gentle beat echoing through the body's networks, steady, supportive, and endlessly patient. Each beat carries oxygen, warmth, fluid, and balance. Each beat cooperates with every system that surrounds it, and each beat reminds us that the body is, in its essence, a calm and unified whole, sustained by the soft symphony of its interconnected parts.